Hello and welcome everybody, welcome to the stream. How's it going? How are y'all doing? Today is Tuesday, the 26th of July, and we're gonna discuss how HOTS could have been more successful. A lot of people ask, who won, Rora? A lot of people ask sometimes, what went wrong? What went wrong with HOTS? And there's no simple answer. Leoflay says it's because of Riot. League star players, mostly Americans at the time, were talking about trying out HOTS. They were hyped by the game and hyping up the game. A few weeks down the line, Riot came up with a new clause. League pro players wouldn't be allowed to stream HOTS. League profited heavily from the own 3D TV Twitch phenomenon. HOTS did not. Interesting. That is interesting. We will take that under consideration. I think I remember that, actually. Let's see if I can find a link for that. Riot banning players from streaming HOTS. 2015. Riot is banning its LCS players from streaming awesome knots. This is a fake article, though. Used to generate page hits. Riot banning streamer for toxic sexist rant. Sexist tirade. I show speed. Tyler. Riot Games banned the player streaming other games. Banned streaming Heroes of the Storm. If you have an article for it, Leo Fliss, let me know. Link me. The plans for today, guys. Exciting stuff. We're gonna be going through how HOTS could have been more successful. Number one. Number two is...
Good evening, less than three.
Good evening. Number two is Hasu is gonna join me, and we're gonna be making a map guide for every map in Storm League together. Oh. Thanks, Trixel. Good. We're going to be making a map guide for every map that exists in Storm League. And then finally, and for the rest of the night, I'm planning to play Storm League.
Good evening, greater than three.
Good evening, Tilly Tesla. Hazu de Guteman. League of Legends players can't stream other games during Season 4. Ah. Wow. Interesting. I'll put it on YouTube. Grubby Hearts YouTube, Drexnell. I got my fitting t-shirt on for today. It's hard. Yeah, I know it's hard to read because of the mirroring. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this one this time, Charleston. I'll make my own. Heroes of the Storm, a game I've always loved and have been playing for 7 years. But many people ask, what went wrong with the game? After the recent... one more time. Heroes of the Storm, a game I've always loved since 7 years ago and have played and streamed countless of hours. But many people ask, what went wrong with Blizzard's fun game Heroes of the Storm with their MOBA, and why did they close it for the second time? In 2018, they closed their flagship esports league for Heroes of the Storm, HGC, and many people believed, although it wasn't true, that Heroes of the Storm development had been shut down at the same time. It was not exactly right. In 2022 June, Blizzard announced that they will indeed stop active for payment development in Heroes of the Storm. The servers are still up, and I still play the game, but the game is smaller than it could have been, and the game has not grown as much maybe as Blizzard should have liked. The question we're answering today is, why did Blizzard's game, Heroes of the Storm, not succeed? And in the question already lies, in my opinion, a bit of a mistake. The game did succeed. One more time, without sub alerts. My bad. Last time. I didn't play the game enough and it failed. Yeah, it's because I played other games. Third take, don't tell them it's third take, okay? Blizzard Activision Entertainment's MOBA game, their only MOBA game, Heroes of the Storm, didn't succeed as much as they would have liked to. The game has been out for 7 years and just got shut down for the second time. First, in 2018, when Blizzard shut down HGC, the Heroes Global Championship. They shut it down to the shock and consternation of many that had built their futures around it. Contrary to what many people believe, the game didn't actually shut down at that time. Development was still continuing. New heroes were being made, 6 in fact, and they were being sold as well. But for many people, they didn't receive this message and they thought that the game had been shut down. I have played the game all throughout its life and I've loved the game very much, and I think it's a fantastic game and it should be more popular, and many people that play the game right now feel the same way. But why didn't it succeed as much as it should have or could have? Is there one simple answer that answers the question why the game wasn't more popular or didn't succeed more? There is no simple answer, and we're going to be going through some of the smaller things that all come together to make a bigger whole of how it could have been more successful. I should preface that the question, why didn't Heroes of the Storm succeed, is actually a bit of a mistake in and of itself. The game did succeed. I am certain that the game made money even after all the development cost went into it. It's just not as much as Blizzard Activision might envision a game should be making. And what are they comparing it to? Diablo Immortal? World of Warcraft? Hearthstone? There are some profitable games out there, and Blizzard Activision really has a taste for some of the more profitable monetization models. So we're going to be looking at some of the monetization models in Heroes of the Storm. They've had two, and some of the reasons that maybe the game isn't as popular as it could have been. Let's jump into what sparked today's thoughts. We have ourselves here a Reddit thread that asks the question, what is the reason that HOTS doesn't succeed? I've only just known this game for a few days and they stopped developing it. And it's true, they're not making, at the moment, any active new developments that they can sell. I saw this game as better visuals and mechanics than its competitors, which is the main demand for most players. And they spend a lot of work on it. And then people start answering. And I think going through all the different answers, I can give you my thoughts on what I believe are some of the contributors. But even without reading any of the comments, a lot of small different things comes to mind. For instance, there is the fact that Heroes of the Storm spent years in a beta stage, unsure exactly of how and when the final release would happen. The game always has been free to play, and initially when it became kind of popular on Twitch, and I started streaming it in 2015 as well, there was something called a Founders Pack. Founders Pack was a way, it was something like Twitch drops. I and other streamers would be able to give away keys to Founders Packs, and then people could like start playing the game. It was like a way to buy into the beta or something, even though the game is supposed to be free. You guys remember that? Does anyone remember what Founders Packs are like? So we had a really long beta of many years. I don't even remember when the game actually officially came out. And then before you knew it, HOTS 2.0 came out. And they changed the monetization system from a $10 per hero model to a loot box model where you could earn loot box by grinding and playing, or you could buy loot box, and then in each loot box there'd be a percentage of chance to find a hero so that you don't need to buy it. The rest of the drops in the loot chest system were essentially worthless items. They wouldn't make you have access to more different heroes, by now Heroes of the Storm has 90 heroes, and you start with like, I don't know, 2 or 6 or something, and then some of the heroes are quite cheap and easily grinded for just by playing. And then eventually, let's say if you've been playing for a couple of months, you're still gonna only have like 30 heroes and still not having access to 60. So Heroes of the Storm right now, it's not exactly pay to win, but it's not exactly free to play either. It is grind to unlock or pay to unlock. And as we know, paying is usually faster, unless you don't have a job and no savings, I guess. And the logic is easily made that if you are a working man or woman, you think, I'll just buy the heroes with dollars because I make more in my job than I would be making trying to grind for the heroes. Even though the grinding process is fun because you'd be playing. But that's the monetization system. It's just one of many different ones. I personally have never cared too much for the 2.0 monetization system. I spend quite a lot of money, maybe $500 on 3 different accounts. One on Europe, one on NA, in order to unlock heroes in the previous system. But in the new system, I have never really felt the need or had the want, the desire to buy anything. Loot chests chance to drop a hero is so low that if you open 50 loot chests, which would be what, $100, you would not be even getting a hero most likely. Or if you do get one, it might be one you already own. You would get like shards, and there's shards and there's gems and there's too much different stuff that I'm all too used to in mobile games. 2.0 may not have given Blizzard Activision what they wanted, the big monthly monetization per user, but even 1.0 was probably not good enough for them, which is why they came up with the 2.0 system. But what else outside of monetization, which we do not have direct insight to in Blizzard's coffers, what else might be to blame for it? Let's take a look at some of the comments. No monetization, no PR at all. So the PR is an interesting one. In 2018, when Blizzard shut down HGC, they did never shut down the game, just HGC, just the esports league. And though you may argue that a major publisher and game company shutting down their own proprietary esports league in what is supposed to be one of their flagship games sends a bad signal to those that are looking to make a livelihood out of the game, including streamers and casters and pro players, it should not literally and directly affect any players of the game. Though you cannot say that it shouldn't matter, because of course for many it will change a feeling. Many casual players may nonetheless have a dream of maybe eventually becoming a professional gamer or becoming better, or they like to have that red thread, the feeling that there is an important esports league with pro players in the game that you're playing in. Some people that you look towards for copying their playstyle or just for enjoyment, seeing how the game is played, and so on and so forth. So HGC's shutdown did have an impact. People that saw a future in playing the game forever may have lost that vision sometimes, but many people stuck with the game regardless. Since then, though, in the last 4 years, I've gotten the question countless of times where people say, huh? This game is still alive? I thought this game was dead. And always I say, no, it isn't. It never was. But that's just me, maybe the most well-known streamer for Heroes of the Storm. Not the most well-known YouTuber, I would say, but the most well-known streamer for Heroes of the Storm. But it shouldn't be my job, necessarily, to explain everyone that Heroes of the Storm isn't dead. That should be Blizzard's job. They could have community managers or an active social network account, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and whatnot. They could advertise it on the launcher when there's a new hero. They could advertise events. It shouldn't cost that much. It shouldn't take community managers that much time to sometimes let people know, hey, the game is going alive and kicking and strong. And it would have earned them more money directly. It would have. There's no other way. You'll be not just taking players from other Blizzard games into HOTS, like a Diablo player thinking, hey, that's cool, let's play some HOTS. But you'd also maybe be having some other mobile players coming in. Certainly you cannot claim that a large swathe of people in the world believing the game is dead when it's not is counterproductive PR, and they could have done a better job. Then ESOGG says, going to the Dota client, and I haven't done this yet, but I want to check out Dota, even if just for this, and maybe to try it out as well, just for the experience, not because I'm quitting HOTS, just to try it out. They have a robust map editor and modding tools, arcade, big PvE events periodically, a battle pass that feeds into esports with, of course, the international monetization. All heroes are free to play, cosmetics sold in dollars and cents. Feels like the game treats you like a customer instead of a mark. I don't know what a mark is. Technical performance. This guy wonders about an interaction. DCs from a live game, tested in demo mode, reconnects to his game, all in 30 seconds. Imagine trying to do that shit in HOTS Lamau. Yeah, reconnecting is pretty slow in HOTS, and if you go to anything else, you can't get back to the original game. Interesting. I'm not gonna watch the clip, but that's interesting. The graphics much better than the other games too. I love my Blizzard characters and art, but Dota looks way more polished. I cannot comment because I haven't played Dota 2, I've only watched it. So I don't know how he means polish. I think Blizzard art looks better. Oh, a mark is a victim? I see. If I look at both, I think Blizzard art looks better. But he may mean recognizability of skills, effects, and outlines of characters. This I cannot judge. And then Smurf deterrence. Smurfing is now bannable offense in new player experience update in Dota. Interesting. And that would also probably mean that they're going to have to actually enforce it. And that also brings us to another issue with HOTS, is that the reporting system is completely automated. It works by volume and density of within a period of time, and then it'll either deliver silences or bans. And there's no humans reading reports anymore in Heroes of the Storm. I'm assuming that in Dota that is still happening. HOTS did have some fun PvE events at one point. I forgot about them until your post. Yeah, we had brawls for a while. They were alright. Escape from Baxus was one of the most popular. Pool Party was alright. The Nova War was okay. But the PvE Braxis game was the most popular for people. Alright, let's go to the next major point. It was too late to market. It was released well after Dota 2 and League were established. This is so true, actually. Release date of Dota 2. July 9th, 2013. Release date of League of Legends. October 27th, 2009. Release date of Heroes of the Storm. 2015. So HOTS was 2 years after Dota 2 and 6 years after League of Legends, and more than 10 years after Dota in Warcraft 3, and more than that after Aeon of Strife and Starcraft 1. Of course, there were betas in various games, and that may kind of affect when the games were released, like officially, but there were betas and alphas leading into all of these as well. HOTS is more team-oriented, individual stats and kill streaks aren't as incentivized, so it's less dopamine rushy and more strategic. In the end, that is a design decision that Heroes of the Storm made to the love or hate of many players, and it's true. So they wanted to make sure, like Blizzard wanted to make sure that it was going to be a team game, and as we all know, teammate experiences can be really fun, or they can be really frustrating. And it's part of the appeal of team games and MOBAs in general, that you can blame your teammates. And I must say, although I love being the star of my own game in a one-on-one RTS, it never really appealed to me in the same way in a MOBA, because I see the team really as a team. Let's win together. Of course, I like to be proud of my place, but I still see it like we play together. But in HOTS, it's often said that the weakest player will make you lose the game rather than the strongest player making you win the game. And that may or may not always be true per se, and it kind of depends what role and what hero you are playing. But I gathered that's part of the reason why some League or Dota players didn't like HOTS as much, because there were not any heroes or levels that you could have that you could like 1v3 or 1v4 usually. Individual skill is more rewarded in those. To be honest, that's the appeal for HOTS for me. So I don't see that as a problem, but maybe that could make it more niche. But the too late to the market, I think, is a really big deal. Mostly number one, a large majority of mobile players just think that their game is the best and they don't bother with any others. The games are so complex and take so long to master that learning a new one seems like too much trouble after learning one. I think that's so true. So many people come in and say, and of course that might be my bias or what I see or my echo chamber, but so many people, like everyone that I know, everyone that's ever left a comment, people are always like, all my friends are playing League, I have a lot of experience in League, but also League is so toxic, and like very few people just find that League is sparking joy when they play it. Like it's very frustrating, many frustrating mechanics, it's just what they're used to. It's like a habit, like a loveless marriage or something. All right, Heroes of the Storm, the community is actually really good. Like, yeah, there's some bad eggs, but it's more of an exception. I've played thousands and thousands of games of HOTS, and toxicity is so rare, less than 1 in 100. And that may be worse at lower levels or worse when you're not streaming, but it is definitely the exception and not the rule. And what's more is, when it's toxic in HOTS, usually people flame your skills, and they don't go like, I wish your family members would get deadly diseases and die horribly and lonely. It's just a lot rarer in Heroes of the Storm, I feel. Everyone I know who plays League absolutely hates it, but they are skilled in it, so it's a toxic dopamine addiction. Now I feel like trying League. You really sell it well, Azes. I'll try it out sometime. But yeah, everyone recommends me to mute chat in League straight from the get-go, but some people only recommend muting in HOTS, and it's the minority. With the second point, in any team-based game, it's very frustrating when your team performs poorly and causes you to lose. However, in HOTS, it's nearly impossible to have a good individual performance with a bad team. Team play with tanks and healers is much more impactful, and shared XP means no individual player can pull ahead with resources. Yeah, like in those games, you can get level 7 when the others are like level 4. But here, everyone levels together. So even the worst player is going to be given their chance to fight at level 20 as a level 20 when everyone else earned their level 20 and you were dead weight. And then they can still feel like they done something, which is also the appeal, but it's also frustrating for those that did earn the level 20. I'm not sure I'd buy the too late to market spin. If it were a better, more inviting game, players would have swapped. This brings me to another point. Quick match. Effing quick match. Quick match. Yeah. Quick match is the game mode that advertises Heroes of the Storm. When you start playing the game, you play quick match. No draft. Always an Abathur. Abusive team compositions. Smurfs a lot. It's bad. It's not the game. The game, arguably, the best version of HOTS is when you play as 5 versus 5 with voice comms. Then the game is actually so good and tactical and deep. Then the step below that is solo queue ranked. And for many, instead, sidestep, it's ARAM. HOTS is the game you play with your friends that you can always come back to. It's quick action, there's very little waiting time, it's fun, it's silly, it's a lot of action, and for some people it's brainless. Though there is depth. But quick match is just everything the worst about the game. Abathur, Mule, Stallfest, Assassin Fest, Smurfs, team comp abuse, like figuring out how the roll system works and getting like a tank roll. But it's like you get a tank type of hero, but it's not actually a tank, so it puts you against someone that's not a tank, and now you have a tank. So if you queue up as like Illidan, Maiev, Zarya, Abathur, that's so abusive because they have the ability to tank Maiev. They play like a tank, but they're not classified as one. So now your opponent is like full range assassin, and you just win easily. So that's the new player experience. I can't believe people are saying the only reason is when it hit the market. There's more than one reason. There's definitely more than one reason. There are more than enough player base that just didn't like Dota and League, and plenty that play the other two and think HOTS is more fun. You don't need a League's player base to be successful, self-sustaining game. HOTS died because it was killed. Blizzard self-funded a league to try and brute force a competitive scene. Yeah, this is true. Before Blizzard started HGC, represent, there was DreamHack, there was ESL, and there were more organizations trying to run esports in HOTS. When HGC started, they basically bullied away every other organization from running esports because it was so present and active that there was no space left, no days of the week left where you could really run anything else. So first, Blizzard, basically they cut the grass too low of the grassroots. They took over. They stayed over for a couple of years, and then they cut their own grass and decided to pavement the entire thing. And then, well, some things rose from the ashes, of course. You have the Heroes Hearth CCL, Wisdom CCL now. You have the Heroes Lounge, and you've got the Masters Clash, and you've got some other things. But we lost many years of third-party development. And without a map editor, we can't make new maps that we might think are interesting for the game. So yeah, it's again, I don't think HOTS is dead now. It's on life support. There's still a lot of thousands of people that enjoy playing the game. I still play the game, and so this is no eulogy, this whole thing. But yeah, if anything, Blizzard made it forcibly small, probably because it's not as profitable as Diablo Immortal. Probably is. HOTS 2.0, yeah, I've heard this a lot. HOTS 2.0 is simply too generous with its financial model. It gives too many loot chests, essentially. Now, how many loot chests do I have now, for instance? I've got 19 loot chests right now. I'm not opening them because I don't care. There's nothing in there. I know there's nothing in there, but if I needed some heroes, I would probably get a bunch of them through that. And I definitely don't need to buy skins anymore. I used to buy skins, but the chests give so many skins. To show an example, I suppose, I'll open 5 loot chests right now.
Epic.
I just got an epic skin. Already owned it, by the way. Did I ever buy it? No, I found it through a skin. In the past, if there was a cool skin, I would actually go and buy it. Hey, look, another skin. I just got a 3-day... Oh, man, I got a boost. Nice, I got a stim pack. And this is all like useless stuff, sprays, banners. Nobody cares about that. Portraits. I just got 2 other skins, although I already owned them. So, that kind of proves the point, especially for long-term players. There really isn't much reason to be caring about chests anymore. Very little income. I also have over 300,000 gold, as you might have seen. So, yeah. HOTS 2.0 was the killer. I think HOTS 2.0 was their final attempt to make it even more profitable, because I think through every year HOTS has been profitable. You may say, how could you know? Well, I have some sources, but also why would they keep developing the game and bringing out heroes if it wasn't? Wouldn't they have stopped the game development 7 years ago, 6, 5, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago? And then 0 Point Game says so much wasted developer and art resources on things nobody cared about. Garbage nobody wanted, and then they're like, damn, no one is spending money on this garbage, better pull the rug out. I think that's super true. Can we get a list of things that were developed that are not very valuable, that did draw development resources? They came out with a whole bunch of brawls that they only kept in for a week and cycled back maybe twice later. This is a complete map they developed with a whole development team, and then they made them unplayable forever. Unplayable. So how many brawls are there? The Nova Brawl, the Hammer Brawl, they have the Pool Party Brawl, the Stitches Brawl, that's 3, and then you've got the Escape from Braxis Brawl, and then there's more. They made them all playable 3 times for a week. So we had a couple of months of play, and then they just closed it down. They replaced it by ARAM and never brought them back. And now you can't even access them through custom game, even though they still exist, essentially. Blackheart's Revenge, yep, that's a 5th one. Junkrat Rocket Race, that's 6. Okay, what else? Mastery Rings. The Punisher Brawl, there's at least 10 brawls, so all the brawls. Then you've got the Mastery Rings, then you've got the revamped monetization system. They put a lot of marketing into that. They paid some League of Legends streamers to play the game. Everyone mocked the game, even though they were sponsored to play it, and were there to try it out. They played it as short as they could and went back. Oh, fucking weather events. The weather events. So they made these weather events not just as a side game mode, but applicable to Storm League. Remember that? You could not get around the weather events. They would like come with fog of war that like any hero in the game could stand still and turn invisible. Even the ones that weren't designed to be able to turn invisible. You could stop in the fog and you would just turn invis. What else was there? Like, does anyone remember some other weather effects? Everybody wanted those to freaking stop. That's when we knew they were truly out of touch. Yep. Yep. That's true. I've chosen not to remember that. And then there was, of course, when everyone suddenly had cleanse medallion. Though I thought that was kind of cool. There was one that really tanked the frame rate, yes. Rain, snow, and fog. Yeah, rain, snow, and fog. Nexus anomalies. Were there weather events that selectively gave bloodlust? Maybe. Maybe. Bloodlust. Oh, Jesus. What else have we got? Activision, of course, had bad PR moves. Don't you guys have phones? Yeah, that's true. Game came out late. Bloodlust Brawl in Dragonshire. Oh yeah, it was hard-coded per map. A lot of changes that were made to make HOTS more casual-friendly ended up being bad in the long term. And the only casual thing that's almost universally loved compared to the other MOBAs are its short games. High action-packed and short games. I don't think this is true. I think this offers accessibility. I think casual-friendly offers accessibility and widespreadedness. And I think depth and engagement and new content offers players to play for longer. I don't think a game being casual friendly makes it a non-starter for more advanced or long-term players. Weather effects that reduced frame rates, says Hasu. Yep. Oh yeah, the drafting system. Yeah. So here's another one. I think there was a big interesting point that may have helped or hurt HOTS initially. When Heroes of the Storm first came out, they felt very strongly about carving out a niche for themselves that was unique. Because League of Legends and Dota 2 already were around for 2 or 6 years, HOTS wanted to be special. And it makes sense. If there's a big mega corporation selling hot dogs next to your house and you want to open your own car boot sale hot dog stand, and you do everything the exact same as they do, maybe you're not going to sell as many hot dogs as when you say, these hot dogs are made of horse or pig, or these hot dogs also have pickles. Like, I don't know, you need to come with something special. So what was Heroes of the Storm's special pickle compared to the others? It's that they're not a MOBA! Remember? Heroes is not a MOBA. It's a hero brawler. And you know what else? We don't just have one map, but we've got many. But there is more, wait. It's not just different maps. It's battlegrounds. Yeah. Other games play on maps, but we play on battlegrounds. Remember that? This is a hero brawler with battlegrounds. And then? They are heroes, not champions, that's fine. What else? Oh, you like tanks in your game? Like World of Warcraft and World of Tanks? No. World of Warcraft and League of Legends and Dota have tanks. A strong, beefy initiator hero that can start the fight and absorb a lot of punishment, and they can have some CC. No, not Heroes of the Storm. We have warriors. What is a warrior? Well, it could be like a tank, but maybe not each one has a tank kit, but they're in a warrior class. All right, then let's talk about Marksman. No Marksman. Heroes of the Storm has ranged assassins. Assassins, okay, that's fine. I think that's okay. We don't have mages and marksmen, which is a bit more descriptive. We have ranged assassin, it's a bit more broad, and it makes sense considering HOTS has many different range type of damage dealers, some of which are very unique, like Cho'Gall, Zagara, Nazeebo, and Sergeant Hammer. It's damn creative, and I think HOTS has a lot of really fun heroes. But in trying to describe themselves to be so special, sometimes you lack that, you have a bit of a disconnect with other people that could otherwise more easily pick up the game. After all, we know what a healer is, but what's a support? HOTS didn't have healers, they had supports. And some of them were like healers, and others were just shielders. And others were almost none of that. They had some shield, but they were not meant to be reprising a healer or supportive role. They were just different, flexible. Eventually, HOTS had a re-role categorization, a recategorization for the roles. And now we do have tank, melee assassin, ranged assassin, actual healer, support, which is the odd ones out, and then bruiser. And some may still be miscategorized, like Blaze is in tank, and he should actually be in bruiser role, which still offers confusion to the lower level players in HOTS. But overall, it's better now. But it's one of the ways that HOTS try to be a bit unique. And you're hoping that that uniqueness can conquer new market share, where you're like, for everyone that likes tanks to be called tanks, stay with League and Dota, or come to us because we're doing it better. For us, it's called warriors. And for those people that never played League and Dota 2 because you don't like the word tank, you can now come in. We've only got one. It's called Sergeant Hammer. For the rest, it's all warriors. And then people are like, yeah, that I like. That I actually like. I'll play a game with warriors. You know, there are some things that can be unique that make your game have USPs, unique selling points. Maybe this wasn't one of them, and they should have just aimed for more of a similar role categorization name. When we were casting Heroes of the Storm early on in HGC, we had an opportunity to connect with ESPN. Blizzard spent millions of dollars getting the rights to broadcast on ESPN, and they spent millions of dollars to put a little cap on Manny Pacquiao during a martial arts battle. A little cap that has the HOTS logo on it. It's interesting where marketing dollars for HOTS went to. Rather than trying to influence Twitch or YouTube via known influencers and streamers that could sway their audience to give HOTS a try, they put a baseball cap on Manny Pacquiao. How much do you think that cost in sponsorship endorsement? How many people do you think were converted? Did you know how ESPN viewers reacted to Heroes of the Storm on TV? Well, I leave that question hanging for a second, but I'll tell you the adjustments that we made in order to be allowed to broadcast on ESPN. ESPN has what are called lower thirds. A lower third is like a little ticker of text that runs from here to here that says the Boston Bisons have defeated the Houston Rockets in cricket. And you have like little score coming through. Could be about baseball or rugby or whatever, soccer. Okay, then that meant that we should have our game look like this, so that none of the critical information is blocked by a lower third. So we had rules of legal area to be used, which is this box here, instead of this. Another thing is we wouldn't want to alienate the nice, law-abiding Christian citizens that watch ESPN, and we certainly wouldn't want to be promoting violence through games, so we're not going to use the gamer terms kill. Killing is bad, as we can all agree. War is bad, guns bad, killing bad. So in this game, Heroes of the Storm, nobody's killing anyone. We're almost reaching Pokemon levels. Oh, Pikachu fainted after he got electrocuted by a Raichu or just absolutely blasted by a Geodude because Earth owns electrics. No, there's no killing, takedowns. And after all, takedown, I mean, that's a good term, right? Because esports, it's just like sports. I guess I'm kind of an athlete. Yeah, I'm kind of an athlete. I feel a lot of affinity with Michael Jordan, actually. I mean, we're both hella famous on top of our games, you know, and, you know, he does sports, I do sports. And I think we're really like, we're one and the same. And, you know, you both use your mind and your body to achieve things in the game. I'm an esports athlete, he's an athlete, and it's the same thing. And in order to really have people understand that similarity, I think we should start using sports terms in order to market our games to ESPN people, so we can finally be validated in the eyes of real people. And not just you guys here on Twitch and on YouTube who appreciate high-level gameplay, but like actual people, like people that watch ESPN. So let's not say kills, but let's say takedowns. It gets hard though when you're casting, doesn't it? Here you are casting HGC for Twitch and for YouTube and also for ESPN, and you're like, oh my god, Lily just killed Diablo. Oh, no kill. Okay, we go backstage, like, don't say kill, okay? Don't say kill, okay. Takedowns. Lily taken down Diablo. Oh, wow, my commentary is really suffering here, second guessing everything that we've ever learned in casting, or just calling things as they are. And here we are on Sky Temple, a map, battleground. Diablo is really good at killing people that go next to taking down people that go next to the wall. Wait, down to the lane, taking down. Like, oh. So yeah, there were some hurdles, and then you do all that effort, and you check how is your game perceived on ESPN. How many people did we convert? How many people from that used to only watch ball sports, how many have now been converted to truly appreciate the genius of pro players, esports athletes, truly? How many have finally said, I've always told my children, get off that damn computer and go play some real sports, kid. And now they get, hey, this is cool, this is good. These players are stars in their own right. And if we said kill, we would have ruined it. I read the comments, what did they say? Get this shit off our channel. And they were like, lol, they're playing games. It was all critique. Now, of course, that's the comments on the forums. But like, yeah, there was a lot of like, why is this shit playing on my TV, and so on and so on. I personally have never met a person yet that said that they found my stream or the game via first seeing it on ESPN. Though I will say that Heroes of the Dorm, another initiative for awareness, that was more effective, but it tied in with universities. Magic the Gathering has been on ESPN as well. Yeah. Pretty sure real people only watch ESPN for sports, not digital games. That's what I think. So I'm just trying to show, like, Blizzard tried some creative ways to market the game, but I think the truly most effective way to market would have been via Twitch and YouTube. So, to make a long story short, sometimes it was the game systems that harmed HOTS a bit. Sometimes it was forced esports and then cancelled esports. Another point would be the monetization process, both the initial one, the extended beta, the slow ramping up to final release, and then the reimagining of it in HOTS 2.0. Some people found that HOTS was too expensive. It was $10 per hero. I think that's a bit much. I decided to pay it because I love to play with the Blizz characters, and you know, I was making a career out of it, so easy business expense as well, I suppose. But I know a lot of people were spending $10 for a skin or for a hero, even though that's kind of much, but we just liked the game anyway, and it was easy to justify it by like, I appreciate the devs. Let's pay some for a game I love. You know, that kind of thinking. It was too high though, and I think it's, as HOTS 2.0 offers too many things for free, I still think it's good to remember that HOTS 1.0 was actually expensive. It's also kind of the beginning of Blizzard's increasingly aggressive monetization. You have HOTS, you have Hearthstone. Hearthstone is of course very profitable. It asks a lot of money for players to be competitive and constructed. Starcraft 2 was a triple game release already, a trilogy, which is already a little bit more, but still pales in comparison to what HOTS could earn per player. So it was the beginning of, and I will say that probably hurts a bit as well. Smite sells everything for $20 permanently, all heroes for free. Dota, heroes are free to play, so it's something to be remembered. So it's the esports, it's the monetization, some of the game systems, and finally it was late to the party, right? It came out much later than it maybe could have. And I want to mention one fifth point. HOTS was made in the Starcraft 2 engine. Blizzard didn't believe enough in it to make a whole new engine around it, and it offered serious technical limitations. Reconnect, never really very good system, and for a long time it wasn't possible at all. Once it was, not good. Replays are absolutely atrocious to watch. They get buggy all the time, and they're very slow. You can watch in 8 times speed, but it really manifests as 2 times speed perhaps. And a bunch of other stuff as well. Overall though, despite all those, and I've wanted to do this video for a while, despite all these things that prevented the game from being more popular than it could have been, the game is still a lot of fun. It is deeper than you think. It's easy to get into. I still enjoy it. There's thousands of other people that still enjoy it. Tens of thousands. Europe still has an extremely active server. GameFind is really quick. A lot of people have evolved to now only play ARAM, though Storm League is still active. I enjoy it. It's a good game. Blizzard did it dirty. They could have done much more for it. And what's more is, even today, it is very likely still profitable. The game didn't fail. Blizzard just decided to stop with it because it wasn't profitable enough. And that is all. The game never really did fail or got killed. People are still playing it. At the end, it's their responsibility. However, game is still free to play, it's still fun, and I'm playing it. So if after all this, you understand a little bit more about the world of Heroes of the Storm, I still think you should try it out. Hope you enjoyed the video. That's about it. Bye. Yeah, they're not thinking how many millions does it make. They're thinking how many billions does it make. It makes 0 billions of dollars. And all in one take, guys. Nice. Who says I was recording? How do you know? Alright, time to bring Hasu ups on. Let me call my dude. Once I recorded a whole Warcraft commentary and I accidentally had one of those clip-on mics that you clip on your shirt, and it was accidentally between my legs. I uploaded it anyway because I didn't want to redo it again. Really bad audio quality. All right, let me get Hasu online. For me, HOTS is still the most fun game Blizzard put out in quite a long time. Yeah, it's so much fun. Yo, what's up, Hasu? How's it going?
Hey, what's up? I'm good, I'm good. Are you sure that you recorded the video before, Gravy?
I'll redo it. I'll redo it. Hold on.
No, it was a nice dive actually into the history of HOTS. Honestly, I did enjoy it as well.
I didn't want it to be sad because, some people are like, "Why, Grubby? Why did HOTS die?" And I'm like, "Well, it didn't really die. So the premise of the question is wrong." But yeah, there's not one simple answer, right? There's not like this one thing Blizzard did wrong, how it could have been bigger. Just a bunch of different stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
Guys, how is our volume difference between the two of us?
Test. Twitch chat, test. 1, 2, 3.
Hasu is a little louder. Okay, let me just close his... I don't know how to lower his volume without actually shutting the call off for 1 second. So give me 1 sec. Okay, test again.
Am I back? Hello? Yeah, I hear
Hello?
you.
Is it better now, guys? The volume balance?
Test. Twitch chat, give us some input.
Hasu echo? Really weird. How could it be?
Good question.
Slight echo. Is it echoing from my headset? Yeah, let's try like this. Still echo now?
Test. Hello.
I think it might be on his end actually. It's reverb, yeah. No echo? Okay, good, cool.
So you think we good, or do I need to change something?
No, I think it's all good.
Okay, all right.
Okay, cool. Well, HasuOps. Some of you may not know him, but I think almost every one of you knows him. But HasuOps is a pro gamer in Warcraft 3 and Starcraft 2 and HOTS. And recently, of course, of Heroes of the Storm. And I thought it'd be cool to invite HasuOps so we could talk about some of the maps together. I had this idea to do a map guide for every single Storm League map that we have right now. So to be clear, if we look at the maps, right now the battlegrounds are all of these. And that's quite a few maps. And I was making map guides one by one and kind of extensive. But there's like a couple of recurring themes per map. Easy win following tips, where if you just do this 1 or 2 or 3 different things better, you can already play and understand the map better. So my goal for us here is to go for every map and come up with the 3 most relevant general rules to do. Something like never try to force cap the dragon on Dragonshire, like use it for other reasons, or a single tribute on Cursed Hollow doesn't matter that much, or the Altera Pass objective is so strong you should drop everything and go there immediately. There could be a bunch of fun, simple tips per map, and we'll go through the maps one by one. And who better to join me for this than for me to just try by myself than HasuOps, who has been playing Heroes of the Storm for many years on a competitive level. That's the plan.
That sounds good. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. I like it.
And
which map do you want to start with, actually?
Yeah, let's see. Let's start at the top. It's actually perfect timing for us to do this as well, because finally Blizzard has stopped changing the terrain that we're walking on. Because they're not developing, this map guide will be evergreen and always relevant. Isn't it great?
Yeah, it's infinite actually. It will never change again, most likely at least. Yeah, that's true, that's true.
Please, Microsoft, don't touch the game.
That also means we stick with Braxis, Warhead, and Hanamura forever.
Oh god, no!
But yeah.
That's true. That's true. Well, let's try to get better at them then. Okay, Hasu, let's start at the top. Altera Pass.
Yeah, so Altera Pass, right? One of the newer maps actually in the pool, if you think about HOTS as a game overall. So what is important on the map? So first of all, the objective, right? You have to kill the Guardians and then start channeling. And then you cap it after, what is it, between 20 and 50 seconds, I think, later in the game.
I think it's 30, 40, and 50 for the first 3 objectives, respectively, and then 50 seconds all the time. And it's like 2, 3, and 4 grunt defenders.
You're already better than me, right?
Because of Bahamut, he knows these things. But
He knows these things.
Yeah.
We actually have Cavalier guest in the team. He also knows all the numbers. But yeah, so the objective is actually pretty strong to push with. Then Alterac has 2 bosses. In HOTS, you should always think of a boss as a win condition. Alterac is a little bit different though, but we come to that in a minute, I think. And then it has a easy camp, the Gnolls, the hyenas in the middle of the map, which spawn very quickly.
90 seconds?
So yeah, exactly. And you can do them at minute 1. And they're actually very strong. They're pretty tanky and they reduce the armor while attacking opponents, structures, heroes, anything. So they are very strong. They are the real boss on the map. You should always do them.
Okay.
If you can. And let's think about some heroes that can do them pretty easily. Like what comes to mind actually when you think about Alterac actually?
Hogger, I always think of Hogger first. Then
yeah.
Blaze can do it all right. Jaina and Greymane. And that's when we're thinking of like the Nullpack camp. Junkrat.
Exactly, Junkrat, Rhaegar can help. Exactly, like these are the heroes that are generally very strong on Alterac because if you have one of them, you can usually do the Gnolls by yourself, and Maiev is one of them as well. And it's very important on Alterac to be able to do the Gnoll camp, because if the opponent can do it easily and you can't, then you actually you have a problem, right? Because they're gonna be able to push with it. They always have mid lane advantage, and on Alterac Pass, mid lane, if you think about the layout of the map, it's very important to control map in mid lane, and if you kill the fort, it's so much easier to contest the objective, because it's either in the north or on the south side, and the mid fort is always the anchor point for the objective. So if you want to contest or play for it, and we've all been there on Alterac, right? We try to channel the objective, and then there's like a Chromie or a Stukov with lurking arm on the other side, infinite stalling you. If you get rid of the fort behind that hero, then usually they can't do it anymore.
So the middle fort is a defensive anchor point. You can use long-range, artillery-range heroes to continually interrupt people from channeling the objective. Now, you said the objective is strong. If you were to express it in all objectives on all maps, what strength it is on a scale of 1 to 10?
Pretty strong, like 6 or 7 maybe, yeah. Because and I won tournament games because of it. Like the generals in late game, they hit really hard. Like if you get them and they reach the core, they actually smack it down.
Yeah.
And they provide an aura. I think it's damage and movement speed.
Movement speed,
So
auto attack damage, and spell power.
there you go. So if you push with them, it's you are enhanced while pushing with it. It's very strong, especially in a 1v1 matchup. Like if one hero is pushing and the other guy is defending, you actually have a lot more kill pressure while going with the general. And I wanted to touch on the bosses on Alterac because the core mechanic, right? It's very unique, Alterac. So the core is able to walk around. It can regenerate HP after taking damage and being left alone for a while. And it has armor. It has 3 plates. Each keep represents 1 plate. So if you kill all 3 keeps, then the core is without any armor. It's a lot easier to kill. But technically, you only need to open 1 keep and then go for the core, right? But it has, I think it's 20 armor per keep. So it's actually pretty tanky to take down. And it spins around. Like we've probably been there, and the core is actually very feisty to attack. So while the boss usually requires a win condition, on Alterac it can still be a win condition. Let's say 2 keeps are down and you push with the boss level 20, you can actually go try to end the game.
Yeah.
But oftentimes on Alterac, you send the boss as a distraction to maybe open up the objective, or I don't know, push on the other side of the map. Maybe you kill the last remaining fort while someone is defending the keep where the boss would be pushing. It is good to have a hero that can do the boss quickly. For example, Hanzo with W on 4, or Genji, Shingan on 13. Like these heroes, they speed up the boss process big time. Greymane, of course, and some others. But it is not a full requirement for the map, I'd say.
So you said the objective is a 6 to 7 strength. I would actually normally say it's a 9.
Yeah, you're probably right. Actually, like it might be stronger. I'm trying to think in my mind, like what is the strongest objective? I should have been prepared on that one, actually.
No, it's okay. It's a discussion. But like, if we look at the others, right? Battlefield of Eternity, that's not a 9. It's good,
No.
but not a 9.
Yeah, true.
Braxus, not a tournament map, so you don't play it as much, but it is a Storm League map, so we'll deal with it. Braxus typically ends at 15 minutes. That's relatively early. In that sense, it could be stronger than Alterac because Alterac doesn't end in 15 minutes. Though it feels strong, it doesn't end that early. So it depends how you classify it. Is it like how early can it win the game? Or like how strong does it feel? Like how stoppable is it when you're 5v5?
Yeah, but it's probably higher than 6 or 7. Then I agree.
Let's go with it like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10, right?
Yeah, I guess we can look at the very end to see if the numbers make sense or not. But
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we recognize the importance of drafting a hero that can do the null pack camp easily, because the null pack camp is almost like the main objective for a large portion of the game, as it pushes out mid keep, and the top boss and the bottom boss have access to killing top fort and bottom fort, and top keep and bottom keep. And the only way to get the mid one is through the null pack cap spam or random vanilla pushes, but null pack by far the most effective. And on most maps you need 1 keep down to win the game, but on Alterac you pretty much need 2 keeps down to win the game under average conditions. So mid is like a key, because it's really hard to get both bosses and to push down a keep with it because of the range distance between the 2 bosses. So it's much easier to get 1 boss, opponent gets the other boss, and then if you had mid as well, that's your 2 keeps. And that's how you can win. So if we frame this within the top 3 tips, it would be like, okay, drafting, draft well. It's very important on this map, draft.
Have a hero for the Gnoll camp. Like, that is the highest prio on the map. Like, if you are last pick and you see you have, I don't know, Muradin, Malfurion, Nova, and what offlane would you have? Irel or something? So all of these 4 heroes, they can't really do the Gnoll camp. Pick something that can do the Gnolls easily for your team. It's gonna be so much easier if you're able to do it fast.
Exactly, and if you are the last and you have to fill that way, definitely do. But if you happen to pick first, one surefire way is to increase your win chances in Storm League is to always pick that hero immediately, just in case your team ends up failing and not taking anything of that.
That's true, yeah. And then, like in general, like in terms of HOTS drafting, so I personally think you in Storm League you can win with almost any, or basically with any hero if you play well on it. Obviously, it always depends on the rest of the composition as well, if it fits or not. But obviously, like wave clear is important. Draft the main components, so have a tank, a support, and an offlane. And then the other 2 are a little bit more flexible. Usually, you can have one range carry that has little wave clear, as long as the other one has a lot of wave clear. So let's say, I don't know, let's take Nova for an example. Of course you can win with Nova in Storm League, but she's gonna lack wave clear, right? So ideally, the other pieces of the draft, offlane, tank, and the second range, have good wave clear to make up for what Nova is lacking, basically.
So a null pack spammer, a range carry, anything, a tank, a healer, and then 1 wave clear god.
Exactly, yeah. That's how I see it,
Yeah.
There's one more, like little, or something interesting about Alterac. When you channel the objective, right? If you're playing Anubarak, for example, and he's actually the almost the prime tank on Alterac, you can walk to the objective, you summon one of your beetles, and the defenders will actually start hitting the beetle. So the big beetle can start camping the objective, which is very annoying for the opponents because they have to babysit you basically all the time. And it's a very easy way to get a few percentages out of the objective. And sometimes, if they are very uncoordinated, you might get the whole thing because they realize it too late.
Very true. So this is encapsulated in 1 point. Besides the draft well and the null pack spammer, you have the full roster that can do things. And then you get the wave clear god. And 1 big bonus that can be reprised by really any role. It can be bruiser, it can be tank, it can be range damage. Is a summoner. A Nubarak is the top pick, but if you want to be a cool guy and pick something non-meta like Nova, Zigara, or Nazeebo, some of them are actually quite meta, like Zag, and to a degree Nazeebo sometimes. A summoner hero is a huge bonus because you can cap the objective without killing the guards. And to that I would like to add 1 point. is when you notice that someone on your team has a summoner hero and they're cheesing the objective by bypassing the guards, you don't need to rush there to go for an all or nothing battle and trying to defend that 30, 40, 50 second window to actually finish the objective. You can just leave that be, leave that as it is. The opponent is now forced to send 2 or more heroes to go and defend it to stop the Nazeebo / Gazlo / Anubarak from getting those free seconds of capping. This gives you the freedom to push in the opposite lane and take down a couple of towers. It is the freedom to act and do something else as well.
Yeah, that's very much true. Like if you see your Anubarak fiddling around alone at the opponent's objective, you don't need to run there. Like he's probably better off if he's alone, because then he draws resources towards him, and you, as you said, you can push the opposing lane.
You can join him though, but you don't have to. That's the point.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we have the and then the so that you can win with the objective, you can win with the boss. Point 1 would be draft well, null pack spammer. I guess point 2 is actually get a summoner.
Yeah, or someone that can stall the objective. Like if you think about the channeling process, right? So I guess there's like 2 ways. You can either annoy the opponent as long as possible, and for example, someone like Junkrat, he does the camp pretty well, and he can stall very long if he has vision. So sometimes they fill like 2 spots in one. And yeah, as you said, like a summoner to maybe get the objective, but I'd say it's not 100% required, right? Because if you show up with full force at the objective, you just take down the Guardians and then you fight around it. Then you don't need anyone to have an ad to tank the Guardians there, right?
Sure. And if you had to choose between this is a macro map or this is a 5-on-5 team battle map, which one would it be?
I think on high level, there's a lot of macro involved. That's how I feel, at least. You can do a lot of rotations because it has 2 bosses and the map is very big, right? It's a long walking distance to get from A to B. So I feel it's a pretty macro-heavy map, but I also think that really depends on what kind of MMR you play on. I think in the lower leagues, people are more prone to just group together and fight. On any map, honestly, probably. So, but yeah, I think it's rather more macro-heavy, actually. And like pick-offs, I think, is what you would do on high-level play. You try to get one hero that makes like a slight mistake, and then you capitalize by either getting a boss or the objective, or one of the plus the Gnoll camp at the same time. That's the dream.
Right. Let's say if you had a choice, you get 1 or 2 kills, and everything is available. Boss, objective, other boss. What do?
I think you should, if you can, start the channel of the objective, because it takes quite some time to fully cap it. I think usually the Gnolls are better than the boss, but it depends a little bit on where you got the takedowns, right? If you're already right next to the boss, you might as well do it, because you don't want to walk all the way home to get to the Gnolls. But honestly, I think oftentimes doing the Gnolls is just as good as doing the boss on Altera.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. This boss seems to be below average strength compared to like the usual Granite Golem boss, the Grave Golem.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Sometimes it goes to a full keep wall and it only kills like 1.5 towers if you just take it and forget and send it.
True. And I actually, we forgot to, like Altera has one more unique thing. They don't have catapults on the map.
Oh yeah, the Reaver minions. Do you classify them as stronger or weaker than catapults?
I think weaker?
I think so too.
Yeah, I think they are weaker than a catapult.
And because the core regenerates, no half measures ever are worth anything.
Exactly, yeah. It's the odd thing that on Altera you almost never have to defend your core when minions are pushing.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes if the opponent's then all in the core, they can actually kill it because it drops slow. But usually on other maps, catapults, as you said, the regeneration of the core and how feisty it fights back, it's like 2 things that speaks for it. On other maps, you would take permanent damage right from the catapults. On Altera, you can actually usually ignore that.
Do games more often go to level 20 or not?
Yes, I think
more
so.
to 20.
Yeah.
So get good level 20 heroes.
Yeah, that can help, yeah.
Cool, I think we have our 3 tips. And we've had enough discussion about Altera as well. That's sick. We're gonna move to the next map?
Yep.
Next map is Battlefield of Eternity.
Battlefield of Eternity, yeah. In fact, the best two-lane map, in my opinion, that we have in the game.
Yeah, compared to, let's see, Braxus, Hanamura, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just 3.
Yeah. And it's a pretty old map at this point. It's been around for a very long time, so it's pretty fleshed out, like early game rotations and what is possible on the map, I feel like. So...
Haunted Mines, hello, says chat. Well, it's not in the Storm League pool, so...
True. So on Battlefield, what is important, right? So you have the objective spawning in the middle of the map. It's the big guy that you need to bring down, and then it's going to fight for you. And there's some heroes that have very good race potential, right? So let's say Hanzo, Greymane. There's some off lanes like Atanas, for example, that can work, that have good PvE damage to bring down to increase your race. And these are usually having one of them is pretty beneficial, I think, on Battlefield, especially in Storm League. If you have one of the heroes, Vala with Q build, for example, on level 7, brings a big punch to it.
But also on lower leagues, people typically get all of them. You'll see a draft with Vala and Raynor and Artanis, and now suddenly your double range and offlane have almost no CC. You're all race, but when it comes to a battle, you're not in a great spot.
Yeah, just dodge the battle and get the immortal, right? But it's a bit hard on BoE as it's only 2 lanes and very centered in the middle. So I'd say having one is a good start. And you have to think of BoE. Sometimes you're gonna be in these stalemate positions in the middle, right? Where both teams kind of show up. And you don't really want to fight in the opponent's immortal because of the boss stuns and the circles, and you're gonna get tossed in by a Garrosh or something, and then you get the Mobsio treatment, as we call it. Like you're gonna get perma CC'd until you die under the boss stun. So you're gonna have the dance around where you poke with heroes, and some heroes are very good at poking. So for example, Hanzo, he actually does both. He can race very well by himself, but also poke very well. Like you can shoot your Ws and your Qs from outside the boss area, and you still get damage onto the immortal. Chromie can do that as well. Blaze Q. There's like a few heroes that do it very well.
So some are like not good racers, but they do have poke, like Blaze Oil Slick.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you've got good racers like Artanis, but he has no poke, and then some do it both.
Yeah. Artanis has very good race, but yeah, you're right. If he walks into the boss pit, he usually doesn't get out. Like, you will have to fight with him till the end, and that's like one of the big weaknesses of him. But yeah.
So if we were to condense it, something about the boss to one tip that can be easily written down.
Yeah, pick one good race hero, right? I think that's like we want to have one hero in the draft that has good race. So either a Vala, a Reyna with Exterminator,
Do you
maybe
need
a Greymane.
At minimum one poker as well, just in case you got the immortal down to 53%, but nobody can step up because you could have like Greymane, Artanis, Rhaegar. You've got great race, Murden with Q build, and then a healer like Anduin. But now you literally can't finish it off without having a threat to you.
I think it makes it a lot easier. That being said, though, in Storm League, people are impatient. So if you start poking the boss down, your team usually is gonna engage at some point, like out of nowhere. They're like, okay, now we need to go in, and it's like, you started at 53%, you're down to 20, so you're almost there. You just need to poke, 10 more seconds or something, and then they go in. I think it's easier if you have one of these heroes, but. Yeah.
You don't think it's necessarily a high win chance strat per se, just because there's an ideal way of doing things and there's a common Storm League way of doing things.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's how to phrase it. Yeah.
What about those drafts where you go for a full defensive team? The really difficult ones. You've got 2 side soakers. You don't have any race, but you're constantly trying to defend and leverage the defensive boss stun advantage. Do you think those have any luck on Storm League? I usually find it quite hard.
I think that's very hard in Storm League, and honestly, it's pretty hard in competitive play as well. There are some drafts that, as you said, they have very little race, and they basically usually lose the early game. They try to lower the shield as much as they can so they don't fall too far behind, and then they start winning like mid to late game. because they get some kills, like they are stronger in team fights, they get kills and then they can get the boss even though they race very slowly. There is a lot of things that can go wrong with that though. And as I just said, you try to stop the bleeding early game, but Battlefield can be a very snowbally map. If you are the team that gets 100% shield on the first Immortal, you're gonna kill their fort, and you might be level 10 versus 9 for the second objective, and that's usually checkmate if you get to that position. So I wouldn't recommend drafting in that way. Like you should have one guy that can race, or poke at least, so you get the shield down. You are able to interact with the boss from a little bit of a distance, or if need be, you can fully race. So yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead.
My first tip is always include one racer with high PvE damage. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
I wanted to touch on the camps on Battlefield because I said like the map is kind of figured out early game.
Yeah.
And I think it's something in Storm League you see people didn't figure it out yet, or they don't know per se, or they get busy brawling, so they don't know, or they don't do what they're supposed to do because they are stacking damage. You should do the hard camp, like the bruiser camp, and you should do it around minute like 2:15 or something. So you're ready to cap it at like 2:45 roundabout.
2:45, yes.
So
2:45 bruiser camp cap.
yeah, and if you wonder like what is this number about, it's basically right before the objective spawns, so it gives the opponents another threat to deal with, and the bruiser camp on Battlefield constantly resummons the little doggos. It's like a fallen shaman, right? So it constantly resummons the two minions that it has.
Yep.
And if you don't deal with it, it's actually gonna take down the whole fort, right? So it is a very good tool, especially I would think in lower leagues as well, when people just come 5v5 to brawl. If one of the teams has the hard camp and the other ones don't, that should usually be very good for you.
And should you defend the bruiser camp when it gets to your gate at 3:05?
I think there should be one hero dealing with it, yeah. Usually, I mean, yeah, I think
I've
there
heard
should
it
be
say
one hero.
before that you should not defend against it, because when you have two towers up and two clashing minion waves, one with the bruiser, is that it will kill itself on the double towers.
Is that always the case, though?
I think I've seen both happen.
Yeah, I've seen both happen as well, and maybe I would need to ask, like, my offlane how exactly, because they probably pay more attention to that, because usually it's their job to deal with it. But if, like, okay, let me put it like this. If you're a hero that has a very easy to throw in the camp, like, let's say you are Irel, right?
Yeah.
And the fallen shaman is walking up, you can knock it into tower range. That will usually do the trick. There's some other heroes that can do similar, or
Hogger.
sometimes you just straight up very easily clear it as well with the hero that you play. So it is usually good to do it, I think. And there's and we do have two more camps, right? The easy, the goatman,
the Khazra impalers, yeah. How
Exactly.
important are they, and how should you time them?
Yeah, they are not all too important, but you don't want to lose both camps, right, in the early game. So usually, what we see in Storm League on BOE, there's gonna be like a 4v4 on bottom and a 1v1 on top. The offlane's battling it out in the 4v4, and usually in the 4v4 you will determine pretty quickly who is stronger, especially when it comes to on-point fight. Like, let's say we fight for the easy camp, there's gonna be one team that is usually stronger than the other.
Yeah.
Be it they have better zone control, or just, I don't know, they have double support. You cannot fight into the double support there. It's impossible. You can't kill them in time. If that's the case and they start the camp, you have to send someone to top lane and do the top easy camp, because you don't want to lose both, right? You want to trade 1-for-1 in that case.
Yes. And let's also talk about the 4-1 split. 4-1 split makes no sense.
Yeah, it's gonna happen in Storm League though. I don't think you can really avoid it.
It's just for simplicity's sake, right? Like, people are used to it and they're going to keep doing it. But there's nothing that makes bottom lane, the 4-man, over the top lane.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Yeah, there is no... Yeah, there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, that's how the Storm League meta defined. And honestly, you kind of see it in competitive as well. What you usually see is that it's like one hero on each lane, and the other three are kind of like out of vision. They are either close to bot lane or top lane, but they usually don't show because they don't add much to the wave clear. And they will only come out if, I don't know, the opponents start hitting the wall, or if they have to do the easy camp on the other side, for example.
Yeah.
So like staying slightly out of vision. I mean, that's generally on all maps a good thing. If you don't add anything to wave clear, you should probably not auto-attacking the minions.
Yeah, but in Storm League, people just go 4 bot, they will die and realize that their 4-man is weaker, and then you should go get the other Khasra.
Yeah, after you died, hopefully you have enough time to still go top and do it, right? Death timers are short in early game, it's not the end of the world. Just don't instantly run to bottom again and die one more time.
Yeah. Okay. Then, when it comes to the Immortal, anything we can say there, like... So we have always include one racer, we have cap the bruiser cap at 245 and clear the attacking one.
Yeah.
The third and final tip. The
Third
most
and final tip.
effective way to add value, like draft a lot of stuns or displacement in order to combo with the boss stun, perhaps.
Yeah, that is a good. I think that's what it comes down to, honestly. Like, I think if you, I mean, and it's not always going to be the case, right? For example, I think Muradin is a very strong tank on BOE. He does bring a stun, but he doesn't push you into the boss or anything. I mean, you could with Haymaker, but that's a little bit far-fetched. But
yeah.
Usually having a bit of mobility on the heroes, because there's a lot of bushes on Battlefield in the middle of the map, right? So someone like Irel actually really benefits from that, because she can jump over and then knock one of the squishies or maybe the support in. Garrosh can be good, because you can throw people into the boss circles. And in general, vision tools are very important. So that brings me back to Hanzo actually, and that's why you see him a lot on this map. He brings Race, he has Poke, and he has the Sonic Arrow that actually reveals one side. Because if you are in the stalemate position in the middle, you will lose vision on either the north or the south, right? So you can use your Sonic Arrow on one of the side, and then your off lane is covering the other, so you can freely poke. That would be the ideal setup. The Lunara Wisp is actually insane on Battlefield, given how many bushes we have in the middle and how much it reveals. And I mean, vision is a very good tool to control the opponents and to get an edge, right? So I think actually on Battlefield in the middle of the map, it is pretty important to have at least one of the heroes that provides that.
It makes sense. This is a map where, just like in Infernal Shrines, and perhaps even more so here, 360-degree fights are more common than almost on any other map, compared to Braxis, which is very front to back. So you want to have mobility to dodge engage, you want to have engage, creative jump engage in order to force it, and you want to have vision to not get surprised.
Exactly, yeah. And there's plenty of vision tools, right? Some are, I mean, the Wisp and the Sonic Arrow are very obvious, but...
Rhaegar Totem, Slow Totem, Healing Totem.
Exactly. We can even talk about Junkrat. I know he's not very common on BOE, but he technically has a very good kit to control his side of the map. Like, he has 2 traps and a mine. That's technically 3 vision tools.
And
he brings very little
4 grenades, which all have some vision too lingering, right?
True, exactly. Obviously, he's very weak in terms of racing the boss, but like, he is very strong in another department. So you could also win with him if you have a hero that works very well while racing, for example.
Makes sense. Cool, super interesting. Let's go to next. You have some competitive experience on Braxis Holdout?
Very little, but we actually played it at the last BlizzCon, actually. It was the final map against Genji. We did lose on it, though, so I'm not an expert.
For Storm League, then, we can't help but play it. There's no map veto system in Storm League.
So,
let's see. How strong is the objective? Is it a 9?
Ooh. Yeah, it's very strong. It's very snowbally, right? We've all been there, and maybe Braxis is the most snowbally map in Storm League. Like, we all lost games in like 4, 5, 6 minutes. It's unrecoverable.
It's either Braxis or Hanamura.
Yeah, the 2-lane map.
You can feel so much like you're just not playing the game when you're 2 levels behind. Like, if your opponent invades your Sentinel and you lose, you're like level 3 versus 5, and you just end up being passive with no vision the rest of the game until you lose.
Yeah, they have both watchtowers in the middle, and then good luck finding an engage. Braxis is a little bit better in that sense, because there is technically more room to find traps or find someone.
Yeah, there are more hobbies when you're behind on Braxis. There's more comeback potential. Nonetheless, it can be the most snowbally as well.
Yeah. So I think in terms of Storm League drafting, there's 2 ways and usually we only see one way really getting drafted. It's similar to Battlefield actually, where it's a 4-1 split. Also kind of for no reason, just to simplify it.
Yeah.
If you play like that, you can draft something that is very strong in the 4-man. Like let's say Vala, Zarya, Johanna, and like a support that is very strong in the 4-man, right? So you
Morales?
dominate the bot lane. Sorry?
Lieutenant Morales?
Oh yeah, yeah, actually, absolutely, yeah. Morales is fantastic for that, like continuously brawling. That works, yeah. Auriel can work in that case as well, if you have someone that gives you a lot of energy and they can't burst you in time. That is usually pretty strong in Storm League doing that, honestly. And the other way is a little bit more subtle because even on the higher level of play, people are gonna be kind of in the 4-man anyways. They kind of sit around. But if you have one hero that can snuck away, let's take Rhaegar maybe. It is the support though, so it's a bit dangerous, but he can do the easy camp by himself. Or Sylvanas, you can easily gank the top laner, right? So you can send one hero away very easily. Genji is actually the prime example for that on Braxis. He's not very useful in the 4-man, in the 4v4, but he's very mobile on the map and he can pressure the offlane big time, and therefore creating like an imbalance on the map, so the opponents have to react. There's a couple of heroes that can do that. Falstad, actually Brightwing with a Z. Some of the like Genji, Tracer. But yeah.
So solo lane bullies and globals are better than you think, considering the small map size.
Exactly, yeah. But you have to play it well, right? Because if you draft a Genji and you're just gonna sit in the 4-man and you continuously brawl with him, you're not gonna get much value, right? Because you're not very useful in the 4v4. You won't get the resets, you won't get the takedowns.
You could still solo the boss at level 7.
You can do that, exactly. And Genji is actually, it's very unique on this map, because he brings basically everything you need on BoE. He brings a lot of mobility, so he can hop onto either of the points all the time to contest them or even cap them. And as you said, like, he has a insane, insane boss speed, actually. Like, if you get a takedown around level 10, you can usually translate it into a boss right away with a Genji pick.
Yeah.
So if you're a good Genji player, go ahead and play it on Braxis. It's pretty good.
but of course you have to take this talent that gives the deflect resets. I'll show it. Yep. You go to level 7 talent. You have to take perfect defense. You continually use deflect from Genji to proc from the very high attack speed of the boss, and then you have it again and again and again. You just Gatling gun throwing back kunais. So that's Genji, and that's parts of draft. You can either make a very strong 4-man with Morales and Zul'jin and Garrosh and stuff and Zarya, or you can have a mobile rotator.
Good sustain, I guess, is for the laning phase, right? Is maybe the tip that you want to have on Braxis. Like you want to have good sustain, either on the support or maybe even on the carries that you play. Zul'jin can heal himself, Gul'dan can heal himself. There's like some heroes that work very well. Chromie, Junkrat actually, because in the 4v4 on bottom, there's this one bush where people walk into the objective. If you put a trap there, they will walk in. You can maybe get a kill out of it and so on. So like these heroes work very well usually, yeah.
Can we have number 2 tip be don't freaking take Ragnaros?
Yeah, so people have the misconception that Ragnaros is a very good pick on Braxis because you can Lava Wave or Rag D the opponent's Zerg Wave. But that also means that you lose it, right? Because you give them the Zerg Wave, because you usually lose the laning phase.
Finally someone else is saying it.
Yeah, so why not just win the laning phase instead, right? That works as well.
And how do you win the laning phase? Just pick Rexar?
Yeah, I mean, we come to that in a minute. It's very, I mean, Rexar is very good for sure, but there is a lot of off lanes that work, and honestly, I think on the very high level, whoever you ask, they're gonna give you like, yeah, I'm gonna win this lane, and then you ask the same matchup, someone else, you ask Dequaza, and then Dequaza says, yeah, I usually win that lane. Like
someone's lying.
It is it's a lot, it's very skill dependent on a high level. And there's like little nuances that you can do. There's there's the globe generator, right? That you can pick up the globe here and there to get more HP. The the way you play the lane to get like maximum value out of your 1v1. But if you are comfortable on Rexa, he is a very easy to play on Brax's hero. Like you're gonna get good value on the offlane if you're comfortable playing him. There is other offlanes as well though that work, and it can be your Atanas. Like he is fine in the raw 1v1, right? If there's no pesky Genji jumping over and killing you.
Yeah. So you have Rexar, and then there's all kinds of different matchups. Sometimes Artanis is fine, sometimes Sonya, sometimes
the Haka can be fine. Yeah, Urel. Exactly. I mean, yeah, if you even see like sometimes Kira or Imperius on the offlane, it can work. It really depends on the matchup. And kind of like how the foreman is as well, right? So you can have a slightly weaker offlaner if your team is actually sending someone to top to help you out. You might get a kill, you might be able to push out the lane there and so on. So that depends a bit as well.
Okay, so hold your solo lane. Would you sooner take like an amazing dueler or an amazing Zerg clearer or wave clearer?
I think the dueling is probably more important on the offlane on Braxis. Because the Zerg clear usually comes from your range carries, right? Or your teammates. If you're the off, I mean, it helps if you have it, but hopefully if you lose the Zerg wave, they are sending the wave clear up, right? Your teammates. There's usually gonna be one mage maybe or someone that can help you out.
So you'll take a generalist solo lane that can always be kind of good. In my opinion, that's Rexar, Artanis, or Dahaka. They almost never get hard countered.
Yeah.
And then if you're more of a specialist picker, like a cool guy that takes heroes like Kira and Phoenix for the solo lane, then you should try to last pick the solo, so you see theirs first.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, and obviously like Malthael can work, Leoric can work, Blaze. You know, the standard off lanes, and some of them counter each other, so it's gonna be more beneficial to pick it after. But you can't do wrong with the Rexa first pick on Braxis, for example. It's totally fine. Like it's a good map for him.
My final tip suggestion is don't take the boss.
Yeah. Okay.
Just don't. You're gonna throw. You're ahead. Okay. How about this? Always first tap both beacons after you're ahead.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people are like, oh, we just wiped like 3 of them, and then you take the boss, and then maybe you're like 4 and they're like 2. You have 1 dead and they have 3 dead, and you take the boss, but you don't take the beacons, and then the defender takes the consolation prize of tapping top and bot beacon. So now you're in a 4 versus 2 where they get like 40% progress for free. You grab the boss. Now you start going to one of the beacons as 4. If you split 2-2, you have the risk of running 2 versus 2 on bot and 2 versus 2 on top. So you split and you go to one of the beacons as 4, you recapture it, but you still get 0%. They still have the top. You go with the 4 to the top. By now, they're already defending the boss. Everyone respawns. Everyone comes back. You've got 0%. They've got 40. Boss did almost nothing because it's rather weak. And now eventually they end up winning the Zerg wave. To that I say, always first double tap the beacons and just forget about the boss.
Yeah, I mean you are right in the sense that if you start tapping the percentages, it's guaranteed value, right? Once you cap both, you're gonna get the percentages going, and the boss not necessarily is gonna give that. And you are right that you can also throw on the boss, right? You might die.
Yeah.
They come. So yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that is true.
Would you say always first double tap the beacons, or would you say don't effing take the boss?
Yeah. I mean, if you have like Genji, right, then you can do both.
Let's well, yeah, but let's assume like you're just normal team. You're a normal team. You're like 1 or 2 people up, and you're like.
You should probably ignore the boss. Just ignore the boss in that moment. Do the hard camp if you want, or the easy camp, right? Cap the objectives, get to the moon well, and then you do one of your camps, something like that. I think it's usually the better play, especially if you're slightly ahead. Because you might be throwing your lead otherwise. It is dangerous. Like the boss is in the middle of the map and it actually deals quite some damage while doing it. People sometimes underestimate how strong the boss is. And it is pretty easy for, like, even if the opponents are respawning, they can run there and fight with you.
Yes.
So yeah, you gotta be careful of that.
Okay, cool. That's Braxis. Let's go to the next. We have Cursed Hollow.
Ooh, Cursed Hollow, yeah. Very
Weak
old school map.
Weak objective.
Weak object. I agree, yeah, I agree. You need 3 tributes, right, before you get anything out of it. And we've all been in games where you actually curse the opponents, but you're a level behind in soak afterwards, right? So it can go very wrong, even if you curse the opponents.
Yes.
In my opinion, and like for high level play, I think curse is pretty hard to play to make the right decisions all the time. Not only is there 3 tributes that you need to cap before you get anything out of it, but there's 2 bosses, which on this map they are legit win conditions. And, you know, easy camp and a bruiser camp. And you can tank the opponent's curse if you have your own bruiser camp and easy camp, for example, just capped right before. So there's a lot of small things on the map that can matter. In Storm League, it's a bit hard. And actually, for me, the map is hard to play overall. Like I feel like there's a lot of things you can do. I think what is important on Cursed is to have a hero that can stall the objective very easily, like the channeling process. And there's a bunch of heroes that can do that, and you will usually end up with 1 or 2 anyways. I don't know, like Brightwing with the Q, the magic spit or whatever it's called. You have Junkrat with his Q. You can put a mine on the actual objective. There is Hanzo, Scatter, Q, and Sonic Arrow, like all 3 pretty long range. If you're good at it, you're gonna hit it.
But do you think this works in Storm League to go for like a stalling technique?
I think it's still good, yeah. Even if it's not the general plan, I think it's good to buy to stall it a bit, yeah. I think generally it's good if you can, but you might be unlucky and your team keeps chain feeding for it as well. But
Yeah.
I think in general it's good if you can, but yeah, it requires your team obviously to understand as well what's going on, because sometimes you won't be able to contest it. And then stalling is just buying you extra time to get to level 10, for example. And then on level 10, you can actually start fighting. So yeah, in my opinion, it's good to have a hero that can stall. Oftentimes, these heroes, they also help around the boss. Because, I don't know, let's take Junkrat or Hanzo. They're gonna provide vision and space, basically, around the boss. So it's a bit easier to do. They're both fine in team fights. I think a tank like Muradin or Anup, actually Diablo is very good on them. I think there's a lot of good tanks on Curse, so you're very flexible there. Tyrael is very good, yeah.
Let me also ask for a theoretical situation. Let's say you are the Dahaka, the Falstad, or a Malthael on the off lane. You have a chance to push down 2 towers and maybe even get some fort damage. First tribute. It's Storm League, your solo queue. You're on the side lane. You ask your team, don't go for the bottom tribute. We've got positive map pressure. It's only 1 tribute. It's not a curse yet. It's a low value objective to begin with, and this is 1/3 of it. If we can get towers now, it's an XP advantage, fort. Anyway, you don't have time to discuss all that, but you've got to make a choice. But you've got the spider senses that your team is going to chain feed. Do you take down 2 towers, maybe even the fort? Let's say even your Sergeant Hammer, right? To make it even more certain. You can take down a fort and have an angry team of 4 feeders that lose 4v5 for a meaningless tribute. What do you do? Do you join? Or do you stay and kill the fort?
So if you're the global, like the Haka or Falstad or Sergeant Hammer in that case, I think you stay to kill the wall, actually. Because if your team dies, you at least equalize the experience, right? Because if you join and you still lose the team fight, then it's actually an absolute disaster. Then you can't do anything anymore from that position. If you're Malthael, it's a bit different, right? Because like siege damage is very low from you, so you should probably rotate from top to mid and clear the mid wave, and then you should go top again, actually, instead of joining the brawl. And I mean, hopefully your teammates are not super tilted if they run it down during that time, but that brings me back to, if you have one hero that can stall, that usually works very well with exactly what you just described, right? Because he's gonna buy you some time, you're gonna get some push on the other side. I think, for example, I think the Haka is a little bit easier to join the cross-map fights than, for example, Falster, because he has a certain range to fly, and usually he's a bit weaker in the 5v5 than the Dahaka. So maybe as the Dahaka you can make the decision to borrow in if you see a good opportunity. But yeah, I think on Cursed Hollow, the first objective, people, you can calm down, you can relax a bit about. The first tribute is not gonna be a big game changer.
Okay. And of course, it's always hard to know the exact value of not tilting your teammates because different people react different emotionally. So if you knew they were going to be that tilted, you would have joined, even though
You
it
should
was
have
bad.
joined, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
But you didn't know.
You didn't know, exactly. There's one thing about the camps on Cursed Hollow, right? We have a hard camp and the easy camp. If the tribute is on bottom side, so on the south of the map, you are the team on the left, so your easy camp is pushing top. If you
So
can,
you're
you
left,
wanna
you have a top siege camp, tribute is in the bottom. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you wanna cap the easy camp while the tribute is spawning, right? So it's the basic principle again. You wanna provide an extra threat on the map while the opponents have to do something. So the tribute is spawning, your easy camp is pushing top lane. It's actually cross maps, so it's kind of hard to deal with. And yeah, instead of like capping it at minute 1, right? Because that's when it spawns, and sometimes people would do that.
But right side caps at minute 1 and tries to use the bruiser as the distraction, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, exactly. And it's actually good to have a hero that can do the bruiser, like a Rhaegar, a Maiev, Greymane. These heroes work. Honestly, you can just do it with 2 heroes together, so you don't need like it's not really a draft tip. I think you can just do it together. Like support plus 1 range carry usually will do the trick. Yeah, because I mean it's good to have the camps out on the map, right? They're gonna help you.
Then globals are of course good. Good draft. So we have an interrupter, globals, and boss control tanks and heroes.
Yeah, I think globals are good if you're comfortable playing it, right? If you don't feel that good about using the globals or like understanding what you're supposed to do, then you can just pick like any kind of off lane and like double rotate or like clear the wave, go to mid, and then clear the mid wave, and then maybe if your team was doing very well stalling the tribute, you might be still able to join there. Like it's better to play a hero that you feel good on, I think. But generally speaking, I think globals are pretty decent on Cursed. If you have 2, it gets very interesting as well, right? Because the map is pretty big and there's a lot of things to do. 2 bosses, the tribute, there's the camps, the pressure that you get with it. So if you have a Dehaka and a Brightwing, for example, it opens up more possibilities. But I don't think it's necessarily required to have one. It's good to have, though.
Then we remove it, because it may be even better. I think I agree with you. It may be even better just to have like a stupid pusher hero.
Yeah, that is also good, yeah.
I would say it's probably statistically a higher win chance to take like a stupid pusher, like Hammer, Zagara, Azmodan, or a Greymane.
Yeah. I would think so, yeah. I would think that in Storm League that's probably a higher win rate, yeah. You just kill a fort almost while they cap 1 tribute, yeah. It's usually a good deal. But you don't want to be like super stubborn about that either, right?
Really?
So it can be the right play, but you gotta feel it out, right? It's something you will learn. Like you play it a few times and then you get more experience with it, and you will see when it's the right time to help your team, and sometimes you let the tribute go.
Way early when the game began and when Cursed Hollow was new, there was this tip that many people still remember: never to take boss during the curse. The curse is active. The most important thing is to have 1 hero per lane to pick up all the free XP from the 1 HP minions. Maybe you split 1-3-1 so you can pick up all the XP. Your 3-man tries to push. However, any one of the 1-3-1 that meets superior enemy hero resistance leaves and relocates to other places. So that was like the way to play it back then. You mobily redistribute yourself to avoid direct confrontation while applying pressure only where you have superior numbers, and you pick up all the XP. Taking the boss during curse was the noob thing to do. I feel like it has flipped since then, where curse can be good sometimes, and this is one of the only objectives that can actually be bad because of XP loss.
Yeah.
But now curse is used far more often as the cover of darkness, which you utilize to take the boss, because the boss is the major win condition.
Yes and no. I think what you described, you can still play it like that, like to catch as much experience as possible. I think it's important to you can't do the boss as 5, I think. You shouldn't do that. There should be one hero that catches at least one of the lanes of Soak. Ideally, I think you want to catch 2 lanes of Soak, and then you can push like one of the forts down. But as you said, the opponents, if they group up as 5, they can still fight back, right? They are not weaker than you. Just because the fort is not shooting, they're gonna win the 5v4 in mid, for example, if you show up there. Especially if they, I don't know, they have a Anubarak, they're gonna cocoon one, then it's a 5v3 even in mid. Like, you have no business there, right? So you gotta respect that. But it is important to get some of the Soak. But I would agree, like, it's not totally wrong to do the boss during it either, because I personally think towards the end of the curse is a good time to run to the boss and do it. Because then the opponent, like, you pushed out the lanes, you got some of the Soak, and at the end of the curse, all the minions gonna pile up at the opponent's base, and they kind of have to Soak it, right? And because the towers are not shooting yet, it's gonna take them a little bit, depending on what hero they play, because they need to clear it manually, right? Some heroes, obviously, they have a lot of AoE, they're gonna do it fast, but others, they will take a while. And if you then start the boss, I don't know, like 10-15 seconds remaining of the curse, you're usually gonna get it for free, and then you can make the decision to either push with the boss or maybe play for the other one as well. So I think you're right. It's definitely not wrong per se, because the boss is a very good win condition on Curse Solo.
Okay. Then I think we have our 3 tips. Match the siege and the bruiser camps. Good draft, interrupters, dumb pushers. And of course there's more, but we have to keep it to 3 kind of concisely written tips. Bosses are good win conditions, and you do take them near the end of curse. And of course you also said, like, try to have at least 1 or 2 people clearing most of the waves that you're benefiting from of the enemy 1 HP minions during the curse.
Yes, yeah.
These are the tips that I'll write down for that. As for the losing team, the one that has their own forts cursed by the opponent, what's the best way to defend against like a curse?
Yeah, that's interesting, right? I think it's very draft dependent, and on like specifically like what kind of situation you have. If you are cursed and you have 2 globals on each side lane, and it comes down to the opponents actually pushing mid, I think it's often good to global in and fight them in mid, kill them. Because if you get a kill, you usually negate all the curse damage, and you might get out ahead of it. But sometimes you don't have the tools, right? And then it's more like, try to stop the bleeding. And in Storm League it's very hard, right? But if you see you're gonna get cursed, they're gonna get the 3rd tribute, and you're not really in the position to fight for it, just do your bruiser camp, do your easy camp if you can. Hopefully none of your teammates is running it down wild, right? And that's why I say it's hard in Storm League, but the bruiser camp and the easy camp, they can actually soften up the curse quite a bit. Like, they're gonna make it easier for you to defend the lanes. They're gonna stop the bleeding, try to catch the soak that you can, and because we go back to the bosses, right? Because the one that gets the curse, they are more likely to get the boss out of it as well, because they have the prio. If you can do it, you want to do your boss as well as the team that gets cursed, right? So, and that brings me back to a global again. It's a lot easier if you have 1 global hero, because then the others can start the boss. You're the one catching the opposing lane, and then maybe globaling in if needed. So yeah, I guess, like, mostly try to stop the bleeding, right? You just try to cut the losses as much as you can when you're cursed.
Makes a lot of sense. And, you know, when I hear some of the tips that you've given and some of the importances and emphasis, if I were to choose a couple of heroes for me to pick on Cursed Hollow that would fulfill all of those conditions, it would be like Greymane, Zagara, Hager, or Rhaegar. I think those would be top picks. Because sometimes you'll take another hero that can do some of those things, but not all. For instance, you could be Chromie in order to get interrupts, but now you can't solo the Bruiser camp. But with Rhaegar and Hogger, you can. And so, and they can still take bosses as well. They can help with bosses. Same with Zagara. Zagara can solo the Bruise camp. So if you're like a Zagara and you're like, the opponent is going to get the curse, you can defend. You can do side lane pushes. She is a good stupid pusher. She can do like Bruiser camp. She does pretty good on the boss. The Devouring Maul has boss control. So yeah, I think I'm only going to take Zagara on Cursed Hollow from now on and test the theory.
You can do that, but and you're right, but you have to understand, right? If you play a lot of Zagara, you know that like Genji is a big threat, and there's some heroes that counter you pretty hard. So if you
Yeah.
already see one on the other side, you might not pick the Zagara, right? Even though she
Yeah.
would be good on the map, you might pick something that is a little bit more sturdy. Can be a Greymane. Greymane is usually a bit weaker in 5v5 fights as well, but you can make up in other departments. So yeah, I agree actually. What you said is true, yeah.
Yeah, I think Greymane is best when he faces zero resistance.
No opponent, like only PvE. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like
Or-
when basically like he's part of a cursed bullet blow up composition,
Yeah.
right? And he has like 2 seconds in a fight, and that's it. Like he doesn't have to trade blows constantly where he takes damage and deals damage, or like you said, PvE, just PvE pushing. That's where he shines, and where there's so much distraction that he can do anything he wants. Because like it feels like every time I take Greymane, where there are active trades, me against the Vala, we're both hurting each other. It always sucks for me, at least. Greymane.
Especially early game, and actually Greymane is maybe a very good hero to take as an example. Early game, if you're like the tribute spawns bottom, you're Greymane on top lane, you might actually just keep pushing. Like he's fantastic at taking down their wall and maybe even the fort, especially if there's no hero to match you. Obviously, if there is someone, you have to see if you, I don't know, win the 1v1 or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a hero that excels very quickly if left alone at the opponent's structures. Like it's one of the best actually for it.
Okay, I'll take Zagara or Greymane. Cool. Moving on, Dragonshire.
Dragonshire, yeah. Again, like a very old map, but very unique in a sense as well. To get the objective, you need to win 3 lanes, right? You need to channel both top and bottom, and then cap the dragon in mid. It's actually pretty hard to do. I think on Dragonshire, it's very good to have like one strong off lane. So let's say we talked about Rexa before, very similar as on Rexes, right? You can control the lane and the point at the same time. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And on bottom, it's a bit similar, right? You have usually like an anchor point on the map, on the objective itself. Could be a range carry like a Chromie, Hanzo, Lunara. They're rather safe. They have vision. They can control the point, poking the opponent if they walk in. And you want to have good wave clear on Dragonshire, because if you clear out mid first, it's very easy to rotate to bottom or top, and that's usually how you get an advantage on the map, right? On the flip side, you also want, and it brings us back to basically the principles. You want to have a hero that can do the hard camp very easily. Could be your Hogger, could be a Rhaegar, could be 2 heroes together, like range carry plus support, and then let's say you are Sylvanas, right? And you have, I don't know, Stukov with you as a support. You do the hard camp at minute 1, and then you push top lane, actually. You try to get the opponent's wall.
S3?
Yeah, exactly. Your offlaner is gonna be there, and then the Sylph and the Stukov. And you have your bottom anchor, which would be, I don't know, like a Chromie or a Hanzo. In that case, they are usually pretty safe by themselves. They can, you know, just clear the wave. They don't need to fight, because if you have 3 heroes on top, you're gonna get the top shrine, right? You don't need to channel all 3 at the same time. Like, that's not what it is about, right? So you get the small lead, and then you try to rotate away from there. I have to say that Dragonshire, I think individually playing, you need pretty good decision making all the time, right? Because it's a very rotation heavy map.
Yes.
Because you need to win all 3 lanes, right? So there's a lot of very small things that each hero can do, and that would be beneficial, but it's almost impossible to break that down. It's like a feeling thing, right? Like, now I should do the camp, now I should rotate to mid, now I should actually stand on the point, because we are capping mid at the same time. So if I stand here for 3 more seconds, we actually get the objective. Like, these things that's just something you will pick up if you play the map a lot, I think.
It's a complex map, I agree, and I did make a more extensive guide for the map, ! Dragonshire, in my Twitch chat. But if you are a solo queuer and you can't like dictate the whole draft, what would be like your best hero pick for the map that you say, hey, I can get a lot of value out of this because I can rotate and kill the solo laner. I can clear bot by myself against 2 to 3 pushers, like clear the wave and make sure my towers are more safe.
I think Sylvanas is pretty good on Dragonshire, by the way. I think having a good offlane is very good, like a Rexa, a Hogger, maybe a Dehaka. They work very well, because they can also start the hard camp, or maybe even do it by themselves, like Hogger can do that. It's very beneficial. I think having a tank that can jump, so like Muradin, Anubarak, they're usually pretty good, because if you gank one of the side lanes, top or bottom, it's a lot more threatening if you can jump over the obstacle, right? Into the shrine or even over the tree line to gank one of the squishies that might be there. So I think that is pretty important. Yeah, and one big thing about Dragonshire, it's very rotational heavy, right? So if you have vision for the triangle bush, it's usually pretty good. And it could be a Lunara Wisp, can be a Hanzo Sonic Arrow. It can also be just your main tank holding that position, right? So you know it's safe and it's something where you can rotate away from.
Vision. Okay.
Vision, yeah.
Would you take like Rexar with flare?
Hey, you can actually. Yeah, you can have Hogger top lane and
For the
Rexar on
4-man.
bottom. Yeah, that actually is totally fine. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the objective strength?
Not all too strong, right? I would say. I actually,
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if it got nerfed over the time, but I feel like it's very hard to end on Dragonshire with the Dragon Knight lately.
Yeah, you don't end until level 22, 23, 24 usually.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I feel like the dragon is rather weak.
And then when
so-
you combine it with like the complexity of getting it, that you need to control 3 points, that makes it, in theory, even weaker.
It's a pretty low score, yeah, I think so. Like, if you have to score it, it's pretty low. I would advise to people, so if you get the Dragon Knight right, try to take down walls first. Bot lane is usually pretty good to kill the fort, but it's also very good to kill the top fort. People underestimate how good it is to kill the top lane's fort, because there's no point to retreat to anymore for the opponent's off lane. So once the map is opened up around top lane, you usually will get the top shrine for free every time from that point on. Because if you still have a fort, your minion's gonna push it out, you have more vision, you have your gate to run back to, right? While the opponent is completely naked on top lane. So if you have the choice, it's usually always better to kill either bottom or top instead of mid, from my experience, because it opened the map, opens it up more, which is very important on Dragonshire.
So what I'm hearing a lot here is actually strong, safe offlane is good, and taking the bruiser is good, but actually what I keep hearing is help your solo lane a lot, because that kills the fort, that gets you the top shrine, which means you'll never lose DK, which maybe you'll get DK. It allows you to gank top lane, so top fort is good, top keep not as much, but top fort and helping your solo lane super valuable. So any hero that can do that.
Yeah. Actually, that kind of sums it up. Yeah, I think that's kind of how you want to play Dragonshire. Also, especially if you're the proactive team, you took the hard camp early or earlier than your opponents, you start pushing top. If they are slow at reacting, you actually get a lot of value. You're gonna kill the wall, maybe get some fort damage. It's very valuable. Like it creates like a little bit of imbalance on the map, and then you can snowball from that.
Number 2, vision for triangle. Via tank or vision tools.
Yeah.
And 3, anchor hero for bot.
For bot lane. Yeah. And
traps.
That is usually a range carry, but I mean, sometimes in Storm League you will see people like laning as 3 on bottom. You can do that. I think it's not ideal though, because exactly what I mentioned, like the opponents, if they take the hard and push top, they're usually gonna get more value than 3 heroes on bottom starting to push. There is a hard camp on bottom as well. So, I mean, if you planned it out, you can go that road, but if you cap it and it starts hitting the wall, it's a little bit awkward, right? Because it's only like on the one tower, and it
doesn't feel as strong as top bruiser.
Exactly, because it's not in the middle of the lane, so you don't really benefit from the spell armor as much, and the minions are not directly in with the
You're not
hard camp,
helping
right?
the minion wave push up either.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, that's basically the reason, yeah. But you can do it, of course, right? If you can sneak it with a Rhaegar, for example, early on, it's totally fine.
Okay, cool. That's Dragonshire. It's far more complex than 3 tips could cover it, but that's the concept for the day. And I have the more extensive guide if you guys want to see. Garden of Terror.
Garden of Terror.
In short, in really short, how strong is the objective?
I'm very bad at rating these, by the way, but it's fine, right? I think it's fine. It's not the strongest, it's not the weakest.
6 out of 10 objective strength.
That's about a 6, yeah. It's a very PvE heavy map. There's a lot of camps to take. We all know that. If you kept one, you walk to the other side of a map, there's one respawning or something to depush. So heroes that do camps very well are very good on on garden. And it brings us back to the heroes we already talked about. But having one, maybe even two, is very good. And then the same principle in terms of like stalling the objective can be very good on Garden of Terror. The map layout though, for example, if you are the right team and the first tribute spawns bottom right, like close to the easy camp down there, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard for the opponents to steal that, by the way.
Yes.
So usually you shouldn't try to steal it. Like you can maybe stall it a bit, but you shouldn't really try to run in there and try to cap it away because it's between two forts. They can stall you from basically every angle. It makes it very unpleasant to even try because the aspect of channeling, you're gonna lose HP. You're occupied by clicking. Like it usually doesn't work out unless you got some kills already. So that's something to keep in mind. When it's in the center positions, like the middle ones, that's the ones you want to fight for. If they are on your side, that's the ones you want to win. So you don't give it up for free either, right? So if they come, you actually take the fight.
So stalling can be good, but when I think of Garden of Terror, I'm thinking on this map, 2 solo laners are required.
Triple, yeah, very good wave clear, very good PvE. Can be triple melee. Yeah, I agree. Actually, that's usually very good on the map. Yeah.
2 solo laners rather than 1. Like I'd be very happy if I had a Blaze and a Hager, and then I have a Vala and a healer and a tank. Like I'd be totally fine with that because now I know we're gonna be taking camps.
Exactly. Yeah, that sounds pretty strong. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Can be also like Sylvanas once again very strong on that map as well. I think. I mean, in general, she fits into a lot of drafts for the same reason, but Garden is one of them. There's one small thing on Garden that you can do. So if the opponent takes the hard camp, you can do your own easy in that lane, right? So let's say you're on the left side, they push with a hard camp on top. Then you take the top left easy camp, and it's gonna help you depushing the hard camp. It's actually pretty important to do it, and yeah.
Spam
if you
camps.
can, you should do it. Spam the camp. Yeah, exactly. Spam the camps. Yeah, and try to get them out. Yeah, it's very important on Garden because there's so many, right?
Timings are nice, tactical timings, in order to create distractions for taking the seat sometimes. But in Storm League, generally, you'd rather spam the camps than to neglect them.
Yeah, exactly. Rather have it than not. Yes. Yeah.
Objective is slow to get, not so strong. And then I would say number 3 is like there's so much going on. There's so many hobbies. So like we're talking in like 6 camps on the map that refresh relatively often. You've got 6 seed locations. You need 3 in order to get the objective. It might be 5 until someone gets the objective if you split them 2 for 2. And once the objective comes out, it's 5, 6 out of 10 strength. When you're pushing with the objective, generally you would want to split 1-3-1.
Yeah.
And when you're defending, generally you also want to kind of defend 1-3-1.
1-3-1.
Because you'll take so much damage. All you gotta do is take down that pod that disables your buildings, and then you're already removing much of the value. So the third tip for me would be split during the objective 1-3-1, both as attacker and defender.
Yeah, try to match the opponents. And I think level 20s are pretty good on this map, right? Because it usually gets late game. That's at least my experience on Garden. It's almost impossible to end with the first seed, even if you get all 3, right? And then you will need a second wave of terror. So level 20s, it usually gets into late game. So that can be helpful if you think about that as well.
That's a great tip. I'm gonna include it as one. That's our 3 tips for Garden of Terror. Sick. Let's go on to Hanamura.
Hanamura, exactly. What comes to mind? The samurai, right? We gotta spam the samurai.
Yeah.
And you usually do it together. It's like a team effort. You send 2, maybe 3 heroes. Sometimes all 4 are gonna go there. I think that is the most important part about the map. I think having, once again, as so often, having a good off lane. The lane is pretty long on Hanamura, so it gets played a little bit differently as the off lane. But yeah, try to stay alive, right? Don't overreach, I think, on the lane. It's very easy to get ganked on Hanamura as the off lane. and if you die, it's usually pretty bad.
Yes.
And if
I would say
you are
early game is important rather than late game.
Yes, I think so, yeah. And if you are the team that spawns on the left side, and the opponents are sending the samurai top, right? If your offlane is weaker, help him. Like, he's gonna lose the whole fort otherwise. Like, you gotta assist him. Like, it's actually very important. So keep that in mind. That if your offlane has bad wave clear or is already losing the matchup, you have to assist him defending the samurai. Treat it as a boss, actually. That's how you should see it.
Yep. Objective is like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, it's very weak. Yeah, 2 out of 10. Yeah.
So samurai's the real objective. Always spam cap it. Always defend the opponent's sentinel, and not just with one, but with multiple.
Yes.
I have found that it's better to forward defend the sentinel and leverage one hero if you safely can to pick up XP from the sentinel to support it. But that's much better than pushing as 4 with the sentinel against 4 defenders while leaving your solo to defend the sentinel who is defending against the sentinel and 1 pusher.
That is, yeah, that's actually completely correct, yeah. And so that brings us back to the 2-lane map. Like, people are 4 bottom for no real reason, right?
Yeah.
So the right side is defending the sentinel as 4, while your top laner is left alone if you don't assist him.
Yeah, so I bet that if you, considering the meta is always 4 bots on most maps, I would bet if you look at win rates, that right side wins more often, simply because their 4-man is driven to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's probably true, yeah.
I hope it's true, because we both feel this is true. I hope
that's how it feels, yeah, that's how it feels, yeah. And besize that, I mean, I don't think there's really like key components to Hanamura. I think there's one thing.
Let me ask this: mobility. Like, so, you know that feeling where you're deep in the opponent's sentinel, or you're pushing or whatever, and the map opens up, and it just feels like an insane distance from one base to the next. You can't get away. I used to think Lucio is really good here, and maybe he still is, but there aren't that many walls for him to use sometimes.
Exactly, yeah.
So do you feel like mobility is like super important? I feel like it is.
No, I don't think I actually don't think so.
No?
I think like I mean, mobility is good, but I think it's not the highest. I mean, you could always get away with Genji, right? You can pick him on any map, and I think he's fine on Hanamura as well, but
I'm thinking like movement speed givers, like Tyrael.
Ah, yeah, okay, yeah, actually, yeah, that is true. I think Lucio is like a fringe case, because you mentioned it, there's not that many walls, and that's, by the way, why Hanzo and Diablo are worse on the map. Like, that's something to keep in mind.
Yes.
It's one of the few maps where they are weaker. But I guess that is true, actually. You're right, that Tyrael movement speed can help. There's some others. And I think oftentimes you're gonna have these clashes at the objective, so I think having strong team fights can be good on Hanamura, actually. Strong early game, strong level 10s, so you're able to team fight.
So you're thinking double support and stuns?
Yeah, that actually should do the trick on Hanamura oftentimes, yeah. Yeah, actually that is a pretty strong draft if you get away with it, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's not spend any longer on Hanamura. Infernal Shrines.
So Infernal Shrines, the objective, like you have to kill the skeletons, right? The little minions. There are some heroes that do that very well. The first that comes to mind is Lorek, for example. He has a AoE auto attack, and then his Q is gonna finish them off. You get like 10 skulls per rotation of spells, or per Q. Hanzo Q is very good for that. There's some other range carries that are very good at stealing the skulls. So that is very important. Like, big AoE on the shrine to have a win condition on the shrine, right? So you are the team that can get the skulls and then therefore win the Punisher. That's pretty important to have at least one of these heroes. I think it can be pretty teamfight heavy, because people often tend to just group on the shrine. They want to win it, even though the objective can be defended rather easily. But I'd say the frozen one is a very strong one, right? I would rate that pretty high. If you get the frozen Punisher, you can push with it very easily, because it turns down towers and fort. So that would be like I don't know, like an 8 or something. The other ones are a little bit weaker, but they are also still pretty good, right? Because people make mistakes, they get stunned, and then it starts slapping them. So winning it is usually good. Drafting to win it is good as well. So having like good AoE on the shrine is very important on the map.
So we draft for team fight and objective over macros split pressure, usually.
Yes, usually.
I
I think
think
for
that's
Storm League
fair.
purposes, that is true.
Yes.
Split pressure can be good, but it's pretty advanced, and in Storm League usually you want to win the shrines.
Yes.
Zone control, like a Stukov puddle or a Junkrat mine, can be very good on the shrines. Johanna to pull the skulls together, but actually, like because we just talked about Diablo being a bit weaker on Hanamura, on shrines he actually is quite a bit stronger, because fighting in the objective, you have basically walls all around you. You can charge in, get the walls done. Lightning Breath, Apok, both ults are very good on the shrine. So that's something to keep in mind.
Would you focus on
terms of-
single target damage in order to defend the Punisher?
I don't think you really draft for that. No,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I don't think you really draft for that. You want to pull the Punisher over right behind the wall, and then you start hitting it. But I don't think you really draft Q-Build Vala, for example, to have like big PVE damage for that.
This could be one of the tips. Always make sure to pull the Punisher over the
Yes.
wall, and don't stay for more than 5 seconds after the enemy wins the objective, or it'll start stomping you.
That is correct. Yeah, be very mindful of the Punisher stun. Yeah, you don't want to proc it in front of your gate. You want to proc it behind. Ideally, only with one guy. Sometimes several people are standing on the same pixel. They all want to get stunned. But
That's so
yeah, you
annoying.
only. Yeah. In terms of camps, I think the hard camp for the first objective. You know, when the shrine announcer comes, or you have the 20-second timer or whatever it is, you want to send out the hard camp. And it goes back to the same idea. You want to have a threat on the map that they have to deal with, so you can play for the objective. So instead of like brawling all the time around minute 2, get on your mount and walk to the hard camp. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be beneficial for your team.
I'll try that once. Cool. We got those. Sky Temple.
Sky Temple. A very, I think, pretty complex map actually, because this is the map where the objective directly kills your structures and eventually your core. You know, if you start channeling enough in the late game. I think being strong in the 1v1 while splitting is very important on Sky Temple. So have a good off lane, but maybe also a hero like honestly Genji I think works pretty well once the map is a bit more open, because you're pretty strong in the 1v1, you create quite some space, you're very mobile. Actually, mobility I think on Sky Temple is, for example, rather important, because sometimes you want to channel the objective and then get out. Like you get like half of the shots and then you get out without dying. So I think these kind of heroes works pretty well. Globals, for example, they can do that. The Haka, Falstad, Brightwing, they are capable of doing that. I think the boss is a good win condition on Sky Temple. If you are a team that doesn't have these kind of global tools, you can take the boss and push with it as all 5. So keep that in mind. If you're behind in macro on Sky Temple, it's very hard to come back, because the opponents might not give you a fight. So if you're the team that is behind, you can force the boss. It doesn't feel, maybe it doesn't feel that good, but it's one of the best odds you're gonna get. Because if the opponents show up, you get a team fight out of it. If they don't show up, you can push with the boss. And sometimes they make mistakes, right? They die while defending, and then you can actually end the game, even though you're the team that is pretty far behind. So
that's a nice comeback mechanic.
Exactly, yeah. Something to keep in mind as a comeback mechanic. And also vice versa for the team that is ahead, and you said it on Braxis, probably ignore the boss, unless it's like kind of free, like 3 heroes are down or something, right? But usually I think you should kind of ignore it, because it is a throw pit on Sky Temple, especially if you're the team that is ahead. A simple rule is to play vision if you are ahead. Just play for vision and wait for the shrines to spawn. If it's multiple shrines, it's usually kind of easy to play out. Like you start capping, you see the opponent's movement, and you try to play around it. The other option is, if that feels too hard, you just draft for 5v5s, right? You show up on the shrine together and you just team fight them. If you have the better team fight, then you get the shrine afterwards, right?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth about what's more important, wave clear or team fight. But let me ask you like this: how many heroes with amazing wave clear should a team draft at minimum on Sky?
I think 2.
Really? I usually say 4.
1. 4 even, yeah. I think, I mean, yeah, I mean, actually,
someone's gonna die.
The more, the better.
Someone's gonna die. Someone that should be doing it is focusing on PvP stacks, and you need 3. So I feel like with 4 it's safe. With 2 you're just gonna get pushed to some noob ass Medan that's so gankable, but like no one is doing it because there's waves everywhere that aren't being cleared. And
I mean, kind of, yes. And yeah, ideally, I think, yeah, I mean, probably, maybe the around, yeah, 2 to 3 is what I would have said, but yeah, maybe 4 to have one the safety net, right? Because you are right that, and that we talked about it on Cursed already, like pushing down one lane with some heroes can be very strong, and on Sky Temple it's even more, like it feels even worse to play against it actually.
I'll say 3 to 4.
Okay, yeah.
And then let's see. So we've got mobility. Do you think you should draft for the boss control at all? So boss control, to make it simple, are tools that excel at both teams trying to force cap the capture point after the boss has been killed. So Tyrael Holy Ground, Tyrael Sanctification, Hager's Hogwild, Stukov's Puddle. These are all some of the tools that can really excel on the point. Also like piling lots of AoE damage on the point, Horrified, Zagaramal. Should you draft with one or many of these heroes in mind when you go for Sky, thinking this game may be decided on a boss?
I think if you happen to be on one of these heroes, it's totally fine, but I don't think you necessarily force them, right? So if you happen to be on Falstad, if you drafted Falstad, it's fine, you have Gust. If you're on Tyrael, as you said, you can go into Holy Ground, but I don't think you only draft them for that purpose. I think if you happen to be on one, you should be wary. Like, yeah, boss fights can be good for us because we can get it maybe for free, right? But yeah, that's I don't think you force it in the draft, no.
My final tip will be then objective is very strong since it basically wins you the game. Try to always show up for it in strength, and then distract with simultaneous camps.
Yes. There's like one thing I want to touch, like very late game, right? If you're the team that is ahead, so you have structures left and the opponents only have a core left and there's 2 shrines about to spawn, you should start channeling or try to start channeling both shrines at the same time while the others run at the core and just kill it. It's very quick. Yes. Like it's almost checkmate for the opponents if you do it right. You don't even need the perfect heroes for it. Obviously, if you have a Greymane or Rhaegar, they are very good at pushing core or Sonya. But even others will do it. It's like the shrine in late game, it deals so much damage to the core if you channel it for a few seconds. And if the opponents are behind, they are pushed in on all lanes, they have little vision. They need to do the perfect split, like to match the heroes on the objective and defend at home, right? It's near impossible actually. So instead of just 5v5 fighting and maybe losing it and then losing the game, you should keep that in mind. Like maybe just go for it. Like go for the core while 2 of your teammates are channeling.
Big agree on that. Yeah. Always want to split when you're ahead, and when you're behind, you have to go for those stupid plays, like trying to cap the balls, take a random fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Where did I? This one. Okay, cool. That's Sky Temple. Let's go to the next. We've got 3 maps left. Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Tomb of the Spider Queen. Wave clear. It's all about wave clear. We get the objective by clearing waves, right? Because we pick up the gems. We actually defend the objective by clearing waves, because you need wave clear when the web weavers arrive at your base. And yeah, wave clear is super important. So first pick Johanna, totally viable on this map. I mean, Johanna is strong in general, but Tomb is one of her best maps. Some of the mages, Jaina, Gul'dan, Keltas, they have good wave clear. They can help big time. Junkrat is actually fantastic on this map. I mean, we talk about him many times. He's good overall, but Tomb is a very good map for him. And some of the heroes I just named, they also bring you to the second point, which is the control over the payment area and stalling it, right? So if you see someone trying to put in his 20 gems, if you stall him, you buy a lot of time by doing that, right? It's very annoying for the opponents, especially if you're a hero that is rather long range. They can't really stop you from doing that. So like, wave clear is the highest priority, I think, on Tomb to draft. And then it's like a mix between like vision and stalling, right? Which is like a principle for a lot of maps, but I think on Tomb it's something you feel like if you play against it and you don't have it, it feels very bad, like trying to get the gems in while you constantly get stalled, and then they stall you while taking the easy camp, for example. So then you have to do even, you know, it's like an uphill battle if you don't have any tools like that.
Yes. And if I had to ask you to choose between early game heroes and snowballing or late game heroes and scalers, do you find this map ends quickly or slowly?
I think it usually goes late game, right?
Yes.
But it can end quickly, but it usually goes late game. I would say if you have enough wave clear, even if you lose the first 2 payments or something, you're still in the game. I mean, just don't lose all your gems, right?
Yeah.
If you're the one carrying 40 of them, try not to die. You're super valuable to your team. Like,
Yeah, don't throw early, of course, and don't have like a full team of scalers, everyone that needs their level 1 quest in order to be useful at all. Don't go Azmodan and Kael'thas and Alarak together where you won't get the kills and you don't have enough strength, you'll just lose the game early. But generally, we're experiencing that the game goes late.
so late game, yeah.
A couple of scalers can be nice, people that dominate at level 20.
Exactly. And I'd say because the objective strength, I would put it rather low, actually. At least that's how I feel about it. I don't know, like 4 or 5 maybe. Not sure where it should be. Which brings us back to the boss can be a good win condition. Keep in mind, top lane there is a boss, which also means top lane is pretty important to kill the fort and then later open up the keep. Because that's the lane you can, you know, maybe push down with the boss and just win the game.
Is that the first fort you want to kill? Top fort?
I think if you can kill any fort with the first web weaver phase, it's already good. If you can choose.
First or second wave, if you had to choose, top, mid, or bot?
Yeah, top is good, I think, to kill top. Yeah, I like pushing top on Tomb. But if you ask someone else, he would maybe give you a different answer. But I think killing top is good.
I like killing mid.
Killing mid, yeah.
Because I think like top, yes, is a part of the win condition, but you can still soak top quite safely because it feels quite far inside. So like you're not as scared, and you can also escape via 2 ways when you're top, either the little tunnel with the bush and stuff, or all the way back to your keep. But when mid goes away,
you kind of lose the anchor point, right? If mid is away, that's true.
To both base stations.
Yeah, and bottom actually is important as well in its own way, because the easy camp, you have to deal with it, right? So when the fort is gone, it starts shooting the keep, which is a very important building as well. So I think all 3 lanes are kind of important.
I think bot has the biggest curvature. Therefore, when the enemy gets your fort and catapults come in, you have the most distance to travel away from various points of importance, like top base station, your own safety, and the boss. So, yeah, in a way,
actually,
top feels least valuable to me.
You might be right. Maybe with the first, actually, it's better to kill mid or bottom if I think about it now, because then you assert more dominance on the map itself. Yeah.
And once boss becomes a win condition, then you start focusing on top.
Then you can still kill the top 4. Yeah, true. Actually, yeah.
Not sure if I should encapsulate it in a tip. It's all about wave clear.
Yeah, wave clear.
Get some late game scalers.
Yeah. Stalling and vision once again, right? Yeah. I think that sums it kind of.
Vision and stalling. Okay. I think that's good enough. The rest is within the written portion of our discussion. Towers of Doom.
Yeah. Is it, by the way, what's your favorite map overall? I wonder.
I think Dragonshire and Battlefield.
Okay.
And
for me, it's actually Towers. So I really like Towers. It's very unique, right? It's a map that like you can't kill the opponent's core by just running it down. You actually have to win the altars, right? So I think on Towers, wave clear is important. As always, right? I think stalling the objective, or like having heroes that provide vision and control over the points, because it's a very like map-centered playstyle. Like you fight for mid shrine or you fight for bottom shrine, and then the altar, sorry. And it's like very important to be strong around those points. There's a lot of walls, so Hanzo scatters, Diablo. Wall stands and so on.
I'm showing you my win rate, how Towers of Doom is my second lowest.
I see. Yeah. Maybe it gets better now after you
I
hear
don't know.
me talking a bit about it.
I'm listening. You're saying wave clear is important. I never think of wave clear that much when I think
Oh,
of this
it
map.
is, man. Like clearing mid and then rotating to bottom, so you control bottom as well. The Seppas on bottom, right? So wave clear is for sure important.
I'm always thinking like cool heroes like Genji, Tracer, Zera end up owning here. It always goes to level 20 for me, and I feel like it's sometimes won by the solo laner and how often they join the 4-man.
Yeah. So having a strong solo laner is very important then, right? And I agree on that. On Towers of Doom, having a solo laner that maybe wins the matchup, but even more importantly, that can soak top and then rotate to mid, get that wave as well, rotate to top again, and maybe even threaten the easy camp.
But
That is like the dream, right?
Do you think the 4-man should help clear mid?
Yes, I think so, yes.
So it's
think
not
you should
it's not just
be-
about getting a duo guy, like a duo laner.
1-3-1. And sometimes the off lane will take a mid wave, so you don't have to do it with the other heroes. But sometimes you will have to help him or catch it because he's occupied.
1-3-1.
Yeah, you kind of want to push out mid, and then the heroes that pushed out mid, if you cleared the wave before the opponents, you then have the choice, right? You can rotate down or up to your easy camp, maybe even invade. I think it's very important to clear mid lane.
I never go
As,
top. I always see everyone is always camping bot. It's just like a 4-man bot party, like the old Blackheart's Bay, Zul, you guys go for bot kind of.
If you have the stronger farm, man, you can do that, right? And if
But
the
like-
opponents play that game as well. But yeah.
It's not just me. Like it seems like all the teams at the levels that I play, either at like Diamond or like Masters 3K, I don't see people ganking top almost ever.
But it's so strong on the map. Like
Okay,
if
I'm
you
gonna
start
try.
doing it, I think it's so strong on that map. Like if you start to harass the opponent's offlane, especially if it's a more squishy one. Like if they drafted the Xul for double rotation, he's so easy to kill, right? To gank.
True.
Obviously, if it's a Blaze or Leoric, it's a bit different because they are very tanky. But I think a good offlaner on the map is important. I think wave clear is important, stalling, vision, and you said it goes to late game very often, so having to keep in mind to have maybe a good 20 can be important for drafting. But you can be very far ahead on this map in shots, but the opponents keeps up with experience, right? So don't be discouraged if you're behind in shots. Like if you win a team fight, you can easily come back on Towers of Doom. Like that's something to keep in mind. It's a map where comebacks are very, very much possible. Like if you have better team fights late game, or if you have certain talent spikes, like let's say you need level 16 and then you start winning, you can be behind 20 shots. It doesn't matter. They can't kill your core. Like you will come back into the game. And actually, that's why I like the map the most. Honestly, it feels very dynamic for me, at least.
Not having a snowball encapsulated, a push snowball in the objective feels fun.
Yes.
Everyone
Yeah.
has a chance.
Yeah. I guess if they kill your bottom fort very early, and that sometimes happens, then the map feels frustrating, right? Because you can't really reclaim it. They have both Seppa camps, and then you're kind of stuck at your castle. That's true. That is usually if you make pretty big mistakes early game, though, that they kill your fort like that. So that you could just play better, right?
Yeah, great.
But yeah.
I'll delete the rest.
Yeah.
But that's great. Thinking very playfully and relaxed about the shots, even when you're behind, and knowing you can always come back, so long as you regain actual map control.
Yes.
I think that's good. I think I'm gonna delete and remove tip number 2, which is that late game is good, and actually something that is obvious to us, but that we forgot to say so far, which is that killing the bottom
Fort.
fort is super important, and you'll explain why.
And defending as well, right? For that matter. So, if you kill the bottom fort, it's very easy to control. There's also 2 Seppa camps, right? Both easy camps push towards the bottom. They would add the core damage if the opponents don't defend them. Sometimes you have heroes that can push them in easily. That might add up and actually give you. I don't know, bring them down to 5 shots, and then you have their bottom fort, right? So 1 Alta is lethal in that case. And for the opponents, therefore also defending bottom fort is important. It doesn't mean that you only spend your time on bottom though, right? Because that's kind of what you said, that what's happening. And I guess that it might be sometimes the case, but I'd say push out mid lane first, and then you can rotate down. You clean up the wave, and then you see if you can maybe get a pick off, or maybe you send someone to gank top. Don't spend too much time on top, because once again you want to be back in mid, clear the wave, and then you play for your power spikes basically. You try to keep your structures alive. That's how I see the map plays out. And this is a funky map in terms of like Vikings can be viable, Abathur, you know, globals, because you sometimes have the triple alta phase, so you can generate value that you wouldn't be able on other maps with these. So that's like something to keep in mind as well. You can actually draft 4-man push plus Vikings.
Right, yeah. 4-man push with Sylph for Greymane, Anubarak, and Hammer, and then still have Vikings. Then you don't care as much about mid. You just control bolt, and only once you have it, you could like rotate. But yeah, that's a bit more advanced and not per se suitable for solo queue.
Yeah, but yeah, it's something to keep in mind. And sometimes like off-lane Vikings, they do work on that map if you play well on it. So, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna try to pay more attention to the top lane as an individual. Whatever hero I am, like I'll try to see if we can do more mid clear, and at least have an option of going top. But definitely mid clear for vision, tower killing.
Yeah. Clear mid is very important actually. Yeah.
Okay. The best for last.
Yeah, your worst map, Warhead Junction, 39%.
I can't win on this map. Like I keep going through different systems. Like, oh, I'll just draft like this. Oh, I'll just draft like this. And everything that I thought was good here just ends up like not working. Like, oh, at first I thought Asmodan, Zagara, split push. Yeah, let's go. Then I realized how freaking fast people can rotate. They
come through the sewers. Yeah.
They come through the sewers. They take the vision. Okay, when I'm tank Hasu ops, I take the vision. I leave, someone else takes it. I come back, I take it. 5 minutes later, I look at my watch. All I've done is take vision back. Then I think, if I'm taking vision from them and they keep retaking it back from me, I must be doing something right, because they're doing it too. I'm wasting their time. It's multiple people that stop me. And then I lose someone on the side lane. How is it possible that I take vision against 2 guys all the time and we die on the side lane?
Yeah, it's your Zagara just pushing down the lane, not caring about anything, right? And then the Genji shows up or something. I think that Warhead is the map that is the least explored, because, you know, it was reworked. It's very different from what it used to be.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know 100% how the meta should be on that map. I never scrimped on it, at least on this version of the map. I did play the old one in a tournament even, actually. But the map was very different. The nukes were a lot stronger than they are these days, right? If we rate the objective, I would say the nukes are rather weak.
And we have 2 bosses?
Cases, they can be, if you get the boss and you have 4 nukes, you usually just end the game, right? But like getting the early game nukes, I mean, you kill the wall and so on, but usually they don't do too much, right? That's how I feel, at least, about it.
Yes.
I think utilizing the sewers, like the tunnel, can be very strong on this map. Like, it's something to keep in mind. You rotate super quickly from top to bottom, and vice versa. I think as a general, so if we break it down, like if we think, I think as always, do the camps, do the easy camp. It's the Hellbats, they reduce armor, they're good. Do the hard camp on top side as well. Maybe you can push with the hard camp, maybe you can push with the easy camp, right? That could be possible if the opponents are late or do something else, so you get a little bit of value. You said you're a tank, you're taking one of the watchtowers. I think that's actually correct. You should probably try to keep one of them, while the opponents have one themselves, right? It's not always going to be possible, because there's some heroes that are super annoying. I don't know, like a Lucio or a Genji. They always dart around. They're so quick, they're going to reclaim it. In that case, you might as well kind of ignore it. Play with less vision, which is annoying. But I think it's possible. And I think on Warhead, the biggest win condition is actually the boss. The boss is extremely powerful, in my opinion. Sneaking it is hard because it fights back pretty hard as well while you're doing it. People sometimes lose a lot of HP while doing it if they don't dodge the skill shots of it. So ideally you get a kill or 2, and then you take the tunnel, get to top lane, do the boss, and then you go with it. Like, end the game, get out of here. Like, if you have a nuke or 2, it's even better. Like, the push is a lot stronger. Yeah, in my opinion, the way I win games on Warhead is kind of do whatever early to mid game, get a kill and do the boss.
Yeah. I think
That's
I've
how-
heard that before. Like, some people are like, only top lane matters, only boss matters.
Kind of, yeah, I think so. I really think so. If you get 2 kills, like take the sewers, yeah, like if you kill them around bottom, you are very quickly towards top lane. Like just keep in mind, like the rotation is very quick from bottom to top. If you kill them on top lane, you're next to the boss anyways. Might as well go there. And if you then have the nukes with it, it's actually you usually will end the game with it. It's very strong to push with it. S5, like just group up together once you have the boss, go with it. It's a very good win condition.
Tip number 1, always try to hard force the boss when all enemies are alive.
And then the opponents pick Chen and they steal it, right? they kick you off it. I think the first point, do the camps. I guess wave clear is good, just on like any map, right? Having a bit of wave control. Do the camps. I don't know, like I don't have a very good feeling for the map, honestly, but get to level 10, don't be too far behind, like these kind of things. Look for pickoffs, actually. So, people make mistakes, they walk alone into the watchtower, maybe 3 of you are there, you can kill that hero. Sometimes you can invade the opponent's easy camp if you know where the opponents are, right? The map is pretty big, so rotations, I mean, can be fast, but also can be slow, right? Depending on where they are. So, yeah, try to be proactive, I think, on Warhead, actually, maybe. Maybe that's what it is about.
So rotate a lot. Like, let's say I've had some of the best success when I feel like I've played the worst HOTS. Like, just take 4 or 5 people and push top. Like, just ignore a lane, 4 people pushing top, and while the enemy is like doing like a regular Dragonshire split or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that can work, right? If you have the draft for it, like a very strong foreman that can push, I think it kind of works on almost any map, right? It doesn't have to be Warhead. If you have like a good range carry that can actually take down structures, you have a good support with it, you can do it. I don't know if it's the best, but it definitely can work, yeah. I think besides that, mobility is actually good on Warhead, right? That's how I feel.
Mobility and rotating?
Yes. Yes, I think these two are probably very important on Warhead.
Is that particular to Warhead? I still feel like we've got to know further to carve out a unique niche of a simple tip that specifically applies here.
I don't know. I'm actually not 100% sure.
Okay. How about
Let
this?
me check my win rate on this map. Let me see.
Yeah.
This season, Warhead Junction, 57%. So I have 4 wins, 3 losses.
No. We need to check lifetime.
The lifetime. But there's the old Warhead in it, no? It's still 57. 140 wins and 100 losses.
Are you online?
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay, I have you here. I'm gonna show it. What? It's your best.
Wait, did I check something else? Maybe I lied. Wait, hold up.
I'm on Storm League lifetime Hasu ops 63%. It's your best.
There's Hero League and yeah. Sorry, if I filter with but it has to be the old one.
Well, Hero League Team League is the old one.
No, then yeah, you're right. Wait, how do I have the best win rate?
You're a specialist on this map. You're an expert.
Wait, let me check my match history. Let's see.
And you're
how
worst.
Do I win on this?
You're worst on Garden. Guess what my best map is? It's top 3.
Okay, Grubby. I lost with Anubarak most recently on Warhead. I won with Tassada.
What?
Let me scroll down.
Yeah.
Is there any other? I don't know what I'm doing on that map.
Blaze.
I actually don't know. I won with Sylvanas. Sylvana sounds like a good hero to me on that map. I mean, she does on many maps, but I think Warhead is actually pretty good for her.
You lost with her too. Let me check mine.
Yeah.
Let's see. Warhead Junction. I lost with Karazim. Won with Zul.
Oh yeah, Xul should be good. Yeah, I like that. I like that hero on that map.
I think so. Lost with Vikings. Won with Hogger.
Wait, do you like Vikings actually on Warhead? I don't like it too much, I think. At least the newer version of Warhead.
We would have won this one, but I'll tell you what. We lost by 6% core.
Yeah.
And instead of casting Play Again with Eric, while we were near bottom open core,
Yeah.
I was gonna cast play again near the Hellbat camp. I only had one Viking alive. Instead, I nuked the Hellbat camp by accident.
Ah.
Then decided to take it with my play again. Then went core. Then it got to 6%, which made me feel if we nuked core, probably core is dead.
Yeah, can happen, you know? Next time you don't nuke the Hellbat camp by accident. But, I mean, yeah. Apparently I'm an expert, but honestly, I feel kind of lost on that map. I just go by my feeling, honestly.
Well, you said it.
So,
you do random stuff, and then you just go for the boss.
yeah, so the way I feel on that map, I do a camp, I depush a camp, I walk around, I get to level 10, level 13, and if we get a pick off, I ping boss. Like, that's kind of what I do. If we get 2 kills or something, I usually instant rotate to boss. That's how I win on that map.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I think mobility, like wave clear, like you named Xul. I think Sylvanas can be good. Honestly, I think Asmodan, like you said it at the very beginning, I think honestly he's fine on this map. I've seen it working. Like Fallen Master, he likes to pick it on this map. I've actually won a few times with him while he was doing that as well. Obviously, he also loses a lot with it, but it can definitely work. Yeah. Mobility, like tanks that can jump are good, I think. Stalling the nuke, trying to steal one. Yeah. There's one thing I want to mention though. If you use your nuke, try to time it so the minion wave dies as well. Something to, yeah, you will get a feeling for it, right? You will see it. Just try to pay attention to it. It's actually, it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Nuke, if you had a choice, top, mid, bot, only top?
I honestly use it on any lane.
Same. Some people say only top because, you know, it's the boss lane and whatnot, but like I'm happy with any 2 towers we kill anywhere.
Exactly. That's how I feel. Like generate the value right away. Like as I said, I feel like the nuke is not the strongest one. So if you get it off, you kill the wall. I think that's pretty good already. You should do it if you can. If you are channeling, sometimes there's heroes that gonna interrupt you, and sometimes it's very obvious when people want to channel their nuke. So please be mindful, the opponents are not always AFK. They will punish you, right, if you're squishy walking up. But yeah, I think the boss is a very, very big part of this map. So late game kills matter a lot. If you die level 16 or later in the game, the opponents will get the boss and they will probably end the game with it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try to make it not my worst map. And
Yeah,
towers.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Where was your Warhead win rate? It was your best, right?
Yeah, you said it was my best, apparently. I guess, so if you lost the team fight, right, and they're coming with a boss, don't waste your nuke, like, offensively. Keep it for the deep push. It's gonna help a bit. It doesn't usually make the biggest difference. You probably still lose to the boss, but it's better than using it aggressively. Like, some people, I don't know, they just shoot it at the opponent's keep, but it would be much better to keep it for the defense. Like, it's gonna help you a little bit.
Okay, we'll try. It's funny because your top 2 maps are actually my bottom 2. So hopefully, besides us maybe teaching some people some nice tips for different maps, I can also learn a little bit from it and improve those. Hasu, thanks so much for joining me to try and create these map tips for some people that are already playing HOTS or are looking to start. Where can people find out more about you if they want to watch your stream, your competitions, or whatever?
Yeah, I do stream pretty often on Twitch as well, Liquid Hasu Ops, and I do upload most of our tournament games and some Storm League highlights onto YouTube as well, Liquid Hasu Ops there as well. So check it out. I hope it wasn't too long today, guys. I know, like, you know, there's a lot of maps actually in HOTS, and some of them are pretty complex if you talk about it. I hope it was still fun. Like, for me, it was actually, like, thinking and talking about the maps with you. I had a good time, and thank you very much for having me, Gravi.
I always enjoy talking to you, man. It was fun. Maybe next time we'll play some games together. And thanks for joining. I know it's late for you. And yeah, have a great day.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you, man. Bye. No Haunted Mines tips. No, not today. Let's go play some games. That was cool. Let's go play some Warhead. Yeah, I hope we get Warhead. Maybe Hasu will still be watching and he can see my special brand of Warhead Junction style. Warhead, your best map. So sick. I'm gonna see how you approach that map. Tassadar, huh? Tassadar's good on Warhead. Okay, I got it. Sometimes I draft Warhead, I'm thinking like, I need to have something that can interrupt an enemy nuclear capture. Didn't come up in our conversation. What about Blackheart's Bay? For quick match, right? Blackheart's Bay, I'm gonna give you my tip, okay? On Blackheart's Bay, my tip, yeah? Don't team fight. Ever. Let opponents pay when they want to pay. You only pay when they're not defending. You spam all the camps all the time. And you push. Keep the coins, never pay, never defend their pay, and only pay when they're not defending. Spam the map with camps and waves. That's how you'll win. Of course, don't lose the coins when you have them. Naturally. Nice tips. What's your favorite Dutch food? Poffertjes. It's like little mini pancakes. Sounds about right. Avoid fighting on black cards is good. There's always like a guy with 10 coins that's saying the opponent is paying 2 coins. Everyone come here and defend now. We have to team fight, all 5 of us. Ping, 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 ping. They're standing there in the bush for like 39 seconds. Ugh. Minus 18 coins, kicker. Any tips for ARAM? Yeah, just get lucky. It's easy. And queue up with 4 Grandmaster friends. ARAM, draft, and talents. Draft is RNG, yeah. Oh, of course, you know. Draft and talents. Ooh, we got a zoom in face cam request. Cool. Let's see, Infernal Shrines. Any hoggers?
Hunt them down. With every death comes honor. With honor,
only offlane, yeah. We have a face zoom. We have a face zoom request. How much zoom do you want?
the crusade
will not be denied.
Here we go. That's my big brother. How much zoom do you want? Yes. I'm gonna go get some water. Any tips for infinite spin on Shrine? Yeah. Use those horizontal and vertical line index. Use the guidelines and learn where you should be. By the way, big thanks for the sub, Angel Bane 19. Gonna replay it with sound.
Balloon, grant us strength.
4 years. Awesome, man. Thank you.
Our word is worth fighting
High
for.
grub.
Zeus 87 with the gift sub. Thank you so much. Any sandwiches? What echo? You heard an echo?
So it begins.
I didn't hear any echo. Thank you, Tessiline. BRB with the $5.
I thank you.
Give her bosses minion support, kids.
Thanks, BRB Sloth with the Prime. The Thundercloud. I love the content, 23 months. Appreciate it.
Love the content.
Death Knight, Hasu Senpai, People Shy, 90 months. Nice.
Hasu Senpai Pipo Shy.
Marchek with the 6 months.
Peepo, hey, what are we listening to? Munkahan.
That was, of course, from a while ago. Thanks, Marchek. Hasu up to 2 years. Thanks, man.
Ready for the inter-multiversal Nexo Weight Championship.
Weather effect that reduced frame rate grub.
Fate has chosen to be unkind to me.
Ogre shrine clear check. Hanzo level 4Q shrine clear check. Yep. Oh, this is actually a nice way to prevent stream sniping, huh? Block the minimap. 5 hit.
5.
Is this gonna be new meta?
3, 2, 1. Make 'em regret they was ever
I hear that some
born.
League of Legends players stream like this, blocking the minimap. I don't know what you guys think about it. I know it already passed some weeks. I'm not sure if you would comment. What did you think about legacy and fan drama? Oh, I didn't hear about that at all. Juicy drama? YouTube content? Poggers? Ow! Why am I so small? Yeah. Too small, right? I dislike when they block the minimap. True. Me too.
Oh, this way?
I have a bit low FPS actually. Blaze is missing. Is he gonna join them? No, he went top again. Did we get the camp? They disengaged?
I am with you.
You think VLC is running in the background? No, it's not this time, I don't think. Yeah, I only have eyes for you, chat. Get it? Man, I have extremely low FPS.
Choose a talent.
Is it because I'm showing this on windowed mode? Yeah, I don't usually use full screen, but maybe I should try it for this time. I had a bug with OBS recently. Maybe I have to reboot my PC, but I haven't rebooted my PC in a couple of weeks because of the reruns. Well, I've always used windowed mode. I'm talking about OBS is on windowed mode now. That's what I'm talking about.
It is done. Activate the shrine. Defeat
Maybe
its
that's what
guardians,
led to
and
more
the
lag.
potion will be ours.
Because it wouldn't capture on game capture mode anymore. Like, I almost can't play the game right now. Can a mod help me to change the stream title to just like made map guide and now playing Storm League? Are we?
Let's go.
I'm gonna get dense blasting powder this game. I'm a bit late to the objective. It looks like my team did great.
I require assistance.
Oh, May is dying. I am so low FPS. If I make any mistakes at all, it's because of lag.
An arcane punisher from the depths.
Luckily, we got it. Same for you.
Our punisher has fallen before the enemy.
Imagine playing on a 60 Hz 16-inch laptop all the time. Welcome to my world, muhaha. Yikes.
Kill them all.
Nice dynamite, Omega lol. Wow, they have so much more XP. Is it all Blaze? Blaze is a bit more than me. He killed the towers. I want to get towers here too, but we're losing mid because nobody else is taking care of it.
Pick yourself a talent now.
And what is it? Is this a Hortipult or a Shockwave? This is a Shockwave.
Yes.
Nice try, bro.
What a takedown.
A worthwhile exchange.
Group up with me.
Yeah, of course, of course. Let me try to go full screen. Maybe that will help this game. Okay, I think that's helpful for now. Wait, you guys don't see anything anymore. Not very helpful at all. This looks perfect. Ah, this Blaze plays so boring.
Another shrine will be active soon. Do not let our enemy claim it.
Can you hear the call?
Nope. That's Lord Berntner, right? I never hear the call. You can disable AA for now. Quick fix. I don't think that's why I'm lagging.
It is time. Defeat the shrine's guardians.
I think it's OBS based.
The punisher upon our foe.
We're at your limit. Retreat now.
Parker, kill them all.
They didn't do anything.
Get the back.
Get out of there.
We still need our 13s. Maybe I can close like Opera for now. Oh no, they wanted to fight before 13. What can I do?
Parker, go. All better.
You are streaming at 30 FPS anyway, and the human eye can't perceive more than 24 FPS kappa.
No, I'm using 60.
Be warned. A frozen Punisher has been set against us.
I think he probably is Malmoon.
When you weren't looking, they took a cold steel chair to your precious little fort.
I may have to do something I really don't want to do, which is restart my PC. I mean, that really sucks as a streamer, but...
Our enemy's Punisher has been brought low.
Oh, that's good. That's real good.
It was not good enough. Blaze is missing.
Not good.
Blaze is just spamming off. Like, he should join when his team is getting attacked like that. In my opinion, he should join, like, realistically. No, it's not possible for me to move my stream to a second device right now without ending stream.
Turn to base at once. Saga killed them all.
Let's see, which one do I get? I get Kablooey.
Pick a town.
We still have a chance, so like we're not that far down. We're like 1/4 down. These snowballs, man. Why do you take this trash ult? And he keeps missing it too.
Smash like an egg in a trash compactor.
How do I stand?
2 for the price of 1, huh? Well, there's a good deal. Take a breather,
That's.
chump.
I hope he didn't have tranquility for a while already, because if he uses that earlier, we could be in a good spot. He used it when I'm already dead.
A shrine is gathering power, heroes.
Ah, snowball cannon. Let's see if I can close something else. This.
Oh, this go and claim the shrine. Show its guardians your resolve.
He had tranquility, it was up. Yeah, he... Maybe we'll get a play for WTF moments.
A mortar Punisher has been summoned by the burning hells.
GG?
You left your fort out in the pouring rain, and
I
now
think
it's
maybe
gone.
the reason
Yes,
that I have lag is related to why game capture doesn't work. Something with OBS. Snacks for Hogger. Let's see if we can get a 5. Oh no, actually, Mayan. We're still dead, right?
They got your keep, and you better believe they're coming for you next.
Excellently done, heroes. The enemy's Punisher is no more.
I can show what kill spree is. I can kill them all.
Nice.
A fine.
Only off lane. He takes it very, very seriously, huh?
Your keep just fell. Get up and fight back. Pick yourself a talent now.
Guess I'll take Power Spike. I think no control is too risky against Hammer. 1 to 6 instructors. No, we not 1 to 6 or 2 to 6. We still have mid. We need to push. Come on, we're like 5v everyone. Let's go already. Why are we too top?
They siege to their fort.
I don't know why they split 2-2 when the whole enemy team is dead.
Ooh, you are in danger.
Okay, nice, another kill.
Watch yourself.
Enemy fort bagged, bottled, and crushed like an itty-bitty
Oops. Ah, my bad.
Disappointed. I am disappointed.
Winnable? Yeah. We got a fort at least. I was lagging there. Uh-oh. Go, Trank. Good. Oh, big horrify. Snowball cannon. Oh, May ate every single. Don't walk away from the corruption. Heyo, Papillon Party. Thanks, man. You too, Easy Murder. Candy Bomber. Winnable, winnable, winnable. Let's go. Sneaky Jury. Thanks, man.
Yay, color.
We just have to go. If they get this, we lose. Go 3v5. Okay, cool.
Again? What is wrong with you?
Okay, go next.
On your core like a couple of bongos.
I was lost. I think I'm going to restart my PC.
Let us defend
Your
this.
core's on the ropes. Get in there.
I don't know if you've ever had this, Hasu, where game capture suddenly doesn't capture. It was yesterday like that for me with Warcraft 3 and today with HOTS. Suddenly game capture doesn't work at all anymore. In OBS, yeah. I'll just have to try and restart. Yo, nice, we got a kill.
Your core's on the ropes. Get in there.
Another great snowball cannon!
that was. It was not mine. I suspect foul play. Yes, I most certainly do.
It was not fun to play offlane either. Okay, this is not ideal usually for stream to restart PC, but I kind of don't have a choice because of how laggy it is. How many points is GM? I think it's like 7k. Sorry, I just have to save some notes. Because I haven't been rebooting my PC, I write myself notes. You think it's all the Windows Notepad TXT that are open that actually make it laggy? TXT is quite a memory hog, isn't it? I'm joking. I'll see you guys soon. Everyone, I'm restarting stream. Please stay and I'll see you in 2 minutes.